Deadly mobile game. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 101, No Way, No Death. The newcomer named Zhang was very unhappy after being punished, but he was reluctant to give up this job and did not resign. Now he nods and bows to the instructor every day in order to please him, hoping to reduce the punishment. The newcomer named Zhang was fined for 40 days of daily wages and meal expenses just because he had an argument with the NPC in the training base. If the studio knew that Xiaobo and Wu Chuan had smashed the equipment department, it would probably not be as simple as a fine of 40 days of daily wages and meal expenses. After hearing what Xiaobo said, Wu Chuan also hesitated. It seemed that he really couldn't tell the instructor about this. However, what about the characters in the game? And what about that strange dream? At this time, some changes happened on Xiaobo's mobile phone screen. The character lying on the ground in Xiaobo's game began to shake. Wu Chuan's character in the game was not controlled by anyone, so he did not run away. He just looked at Xiaobo beside him with great horror. Xiaobo's body made a cooing sound, and then there were bang 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 explosion sounds. A moment later, more than 10 bone spurs grew from the spine on his back and broke through his clothes. Long claws also grew from the front of his arms. After he got up from the ground, his face also changed, especially his mouth, which seemed to have turned into the mouth parts of some insect. Wu Chuan's character was even more scared, and seemed to be scared silly. He lay on the ground and trembled, his eyes staring at the half-human, half-insect monster that Xiaobo's character had turned into. Wu Chuan in the real world felt that something was wrong, and hurriedly pressed the power of his mobile phone, wanting to turn on the phone and log into the game as soon as possible, and control his character to escape from the dormitory and stay away from the insect-turned Xiaobo. But his mobile phone had just started charging, and the low power caused it to be unable to turn on for a long time. After finally turning it on, Wu Chuan immediately turned on the game of Horror City. Hurry up and control your character. Don't let him attack me. It would take some time for Wu Chuan to turn on the game and log into the game. He felt that the situation was not good, and urged Xiaobo loudly. I can't control my character. Xiaobo pressed various buttons on his phone, but his character didn't respond. Then, Xiaobo and Wu Chuan saw on Xiaobo's phone screen that Xiaobo's character had turned into a half-human, half-insect monster, and stretched out the sharp claws at the front of his arms and suddenly stabbed Wu Chuan's character's throat. If Jin Ke saw this half-human, half-insect monster, he would definitely recognize it. It looked very similar to the so-called statue that Zheng Shidao found in the ruined temple. If you compare them carefully, the statue is more like an insect, while Xiaobo's half-human, half-insect is more like a human. It seems that his transformation is not yet complete. From larvae to adults, it is necessary to control the speed of energy injection so that the larvae can develop and grow steadily and slowly into adults. But Xiaobo destroyed the rune array, and the larvae greedily ate the energy core in Xiaobo's hand, just like pulling up seedlings to help them grow, so that the 3-month growth period was completed in an instant, causing the larvae to mature quickly and become a deformed adult insect body that is smaller in size and much weaker in strength than normal insect bodies. After maturing, it instinctively used the energy core in its body to start mass reproduction of this deformed adult insect body, and the newly reproduced larvae also needed more hosts. Xiaobo tried hard to stop the character in the phone from attacking Wu Chuan, but it was all in vain. He couldn't control his character at all. Wu Chuan hadn't been able to log into the game yet. His character in the game resisted instinctively, but this resistance was meaningless. You caused 49 damage to the target. You caused 53 damage to the target. The target died. Several messages popped up on Xiaobo's phone screen in succession. Even the deformed adult insect body, which was smaller in size and much weaker than the normal insect body, was not something these new students could fight with bare hands. Wu Chuan finally logged into the game with great effort, but after entering the game screen was blood red, and there were 4 big words. You are dead. Below the 4 big words, there is a line of small words. Click on the death replay for details. After clicking on the death replay, the half-human, half-insect monster that Xiaobo's character turned into stretched out the sharp claws at the front of his arms, and easily drained Wu Chuan's total 93 health points with 2 attacks. Damn it, Wu Chuan couldn't help but curse. Can you blame me for this? Xiaobo was very unhappy after being scolded. He was now completely unable to control his character and couldn't figure out what happened to his character in the game. It was you who came up with the idea to steal the treasure of old man Zhang. What the hell is this treasure? It killed me. Now I've lost my job. Are you happy? Wu Chuan looked frustrated. He entered the studio with an S rating in the assessment, and his daily salary was 300 yuan, which was higher than any job he had done before. Unexpectedly, the character in the game died inexplicably, and died in an extremely safe training base. The death of the character in the game was equivalent to the termination of the contract with the studio, which also meant that Wu Chuan lost this extremely well-paid job. It really fits the old saying, if you don't do it, you will die. I'm not much better than you now. Although my character is not dead, I can't control my character at all. Xiaobo replied to Wu Chuan with a sad face. His hands were still pressing the buttons on the screen of his mobile phone in vain, trying to regain control of his character. But the half-human, half-insect character in his game has been lying on Wu Chuan's body motionless, and no one knows what he is doing. The style of painting looks very weird. I should have reported this abnormal situation to the instructor just now. Maybe he has a solution. Now it's good. Everything is irreversible. I was really killed by you. Wu Chuan continued to complain about Xiaobo, regretting it in his heart. No, you were killed by old man Zhang and the little bitch surnamed Jin, not by me. Xiaobo argued to Wu Chuan. In addition to his desire to destroy, he was also very stubborn and never admitted his mistakes. He would always push the responsibility onto others. I'll go find the instructor now. Wu Chuan put on his shoes and stood up angrily. Don't. According to the studio's rules, if your character dies, you and the studio will terminate the contract. Are you crazy to go to him now? Maybe there is a way to save him? Xiaobo held Wu Chuan. At this time, in the master bedroom at the back of the villa, a fat man was drunk and sleeping soundly. The phone next to him kept ringing alarms, notifying him that a new employee's character had died. The drunken and sleeping man did not respond. Obviously, not all mentors are as responsible and dedicated as Chen Wei in Villa 16 of the Blue Home Community. Chapter 102, Alarm, How to Save Him. Tell me, I don't want to be fired by the studio. Wu Chuan looked at Xiaobo angrily. He never expected that he would die at Xiaobo's hands. By the way, Xiaobo's character was parasitized by bugs. He could no longer control his character. But why did the system still count him as alive? It was so infuriating. Is it true that good people don't live long, and evil people will leave behind thousands of years? Why don't you try to register an account again while the instructor hasn't found out? Xiaobo also knew that it was his fault, so he could only give Wu Chuan some random ideas. Wu Chuan thought about it and felt that it made sense. He quickly took the phone and exited the game, then reopened the game to see if there was a registration interface. As a result, after the game was opened, the screen was directly blood red, with 4 big words "You are dead" written on it, and there was no entrance to register a new user at all. Look, it has changed like this. What should I do? What should I do? Wu Chuan handed the phone to Xiaobo in frustration. Maybe it's the cache? Delete the client and try to reinstall it. Xiaobo gave Wu Chuan another idea. Wu Chuan had no choice but to try according to Xiaobo's suggestion. While Wu Chuan was busy reinstalling the game, Xiaobo continued to try to control his character in the game, and even kept changing the operation method in the settings. But no matter how he adjusted it, he could no longer control his character. A few minutes later, Xiaobo's character suddenly stood up from the ground, and he stretched out his hand. No, stretched out his claws to open the door of the dormitory and walked into the corridor outside. It was about 6 o'clock in the morning. Generally speaking, players get up at 7 o'clock, and the dormitory area of the game will become lively after 7 o'clock. At this time, the corridor was extremely quiet. The dim light cast a long shadow behind the half-human, half-insect Xiaobo, which looked very creepy. The half-human, half-insect Xiaobo walked to the door of the dormitory next door. The doors of these new dormitories were very simple, just a thin layer of alloy wrapped in some dried plant boards. After Xiaobo walked to the door, he put his mouth, which had been transformed into a mouthpart, close to the door as if to sniff it, and then suddenly raised his claws to attack the door. The plate door wrapped in alloy leather was vulnerable, and under the attack of Xiaobo's claws, it quickly hit and tore a big hole. In the real world, Xiaobo in front of the mobile phone screen just watched all this quietly, and did not walk out of the dormitory door to knock on the door to remind his colleagues. In his opinion, since the disaster has already happened, he might as well make it bigger and make more people unlucky, so that he will feel more balanced. And as long as he doesn't say it, and Wu Chuan doesn't say it, who would know that the disaster tonight was caused by them? In the game world, living in the dormitory next door are the characters of the other 3 colleagues who live in the same villa as Xiaobo and Wu Chuan. The colleague who lived next to the door was named Chen Xiaoliang, and he was a little fat. When the dormitory door was broken in the game, Chen Xiaoliang's mobile phone sounded an alarm, waking up the sleeping Chen Xiaoliang. Chen Xiaoliang quickly picked up the phone to check what was going on, and then saw a half-human, half-insect monster rushing towards him. The monster suddenly forked a claw at the neck of Chen Xiaoliang's character. Chen Xiaoliang retreated to dodge but still failed to dodge. After the monster attacked twice, Chen Xiaoliang's mobile phone screen turned blood red, and 4 words appeared. "You are dead." What the hell? Chen Xiaoliang, who was completely awake, was stunned. Shouldn't the training base be safe? How could a monster suddenly run out at night and kill him? If he was fired by the studio, it would be too frustrating, right? Chen Xiaoliang's 2 colleagues Liu Kuo and Li Xinping, who were in the same room, were also awakened by the alarm of their mobile phones. They hurriedly picked up their phones, but saw a half-human, half-insect monster using its claws to kill Chen Xiaoliang, then pounced on Chen Xiaoliang's body and spit out a bug from its mouth. The bug kicked its 12 legs and drilled into Chen Xiaoliang's mouth. Chen Xiaoliang's body's stomach immediately made a gurgling sound. Then, the half-human, half-insect monster raised its head and looked at them with a ferocious expression. "Is there an accident in the base?" The 2 colleagues were a little dumbfounded, but they still instinctively controlled the characters in the game to reach out and grab the wooden chair beside the bed, and attack the half-human, half-insect monster. The strength of this half-human, half-insect monster is not comparable to that of ordinary black corpses. Its movements are extremely swift and its claws are also extremely sharp. One claw can cause 40 to 60 points of damage. If it hits critically, it can kill people in one move. The wooden chair had almost no damage to the half-human, half-insect monster. Yu Kuo fell to the ground and died after being attacked twice by the monster. Li Xinping was killed instantly by a critical hit from the monster. In a dozen seconds, 2 more corpses appeared on the floor of the dormitory. The half-human, half-insect monster that Xiaobo turned into lay on their corpses and spit 2 insects into their mouths in the same way. Damn, have I become so powerful? It's a pity that I can't operate it. Otherwise, it should be easy to control it to kill the little bitch surnamed Jin. And it should be enough to kill old man Zhang. Xiaobo's mobile phone screen followed the vision of the half-human, half-insect monster. Seeing that his single attack damage reached 40-60, and the critical hit could kill people instantly, he couldn't help but be very surprised. It's just that the image is too ugly. When he first entered the game, Xiaobo's basic charm attribute was only 5.3. He worked in the cleaning department for several months and finally raised it to 5.7. Now that he has become an ugly insect, his charm attribute is probably going to be reset to 0. Damn, the personal attribute panel can't even be opened. What's wrong? Our character is dead. What should we do? In the next room of the villa, Chen Xiaoliang and his 2 colleagues Liu Kuo and Li Xinping looked at each other in amazement. "We were killed while staying in the base. This shouldn't be our responsibility, right?" Li Xinping said. "That's right, we didn't violate the studio's rules, nor did we violate the base's rules. In this case, we should be allowed to re-register an account." Yu Kuo agreed with Li Xinping's statement. "Let's talk to the instructor about this situation." Chen Xiaoliang thought about it and asked his 2 colleagues. "What the hell? The instructor was drinking with friends at night and got drunk. He must be sleeping soundly and can't wake up now. Li Jinping shook his head. The monster went out to other dormitories. We have to quickly notify colleagues in other dormitories to get up and let them find a way to control their characters to escape. Otherwise they will all die. Chen Xiaolian remembered another very important thing. Don't notify them. Let the monster kill everyone. Once they're all dead, we can force our instructor to help us register new accounts. If only a few of us die, our instructor might just dismiss us directly. Li Jinping disagreed with Chen Xiaolian's proposal. Chapter 103 Comprehensive Isolation. Not good, right? In this situation, we should save as many people as possible, right? How can we not inform other colleagues? Chen Xiaolian disagreed with Li Jinping's statement. Are you a saintly bitch? What does the life and death of other characters have to do with you? Take care of your own mess first. Liu Kuo walked over and locked the door, not letting Chen Xiaolian out. You too, sigh. Chen Xiaolian couldn't convince his two colleagues, so he had to go back to his bed and lie down, then took his phone and kept trying to see if he could re-register a new account to log in. The three people in the room over there were in a gloomy mood, thinking about how to re-register their characters, while Xiaobo in this room watched with interest as his character bloodbathed the entire floor one dormitory after another, killing all of his dozen colleagues in the villa, and then spewed out larvae from his mouth and drilled into their bodies. After a while, Wu Chuan's body in the dormitory of the game world stood up from the ground. His originally sunny and handsome face became hideous, and his mouth also mutated into an insect mouthpart similar to Xiaobo's. Then, the bodies of Chen Xiaolian, Liu Kuo and Li Jinping also stood up and walked out of the room one after another, and joined Xiaobo who was standing in the corridor. A few minutes later, the bodies of more colleagues walked out of the room. After Xiaobo opened his insect mouth and howled at the front, he led a group of half-insect people to the stairs majestically, ready to slaughter and occupy other areas of the dormitory area. Obviously, the insect in Xiaobo's body is similar to the role of the queen insect or the insect brain, and the insects in other colleagues' bodies completely obey the command of this queen insect or the insect brain. That's the feeling. It's so cool, the feeling of being a big brother. A group of younger brothers are around me, and I am so awesome. Xiaobo was so excited that tears flowed down his face when he looked at his character in the game. Although he, a loser, has always had a dream of being a big brother, it is definitely impossible in the real world. Unexpectedly, it has come true in the game world. The only pity is that this character cannot be controlled by him at present. Otherwise, Xiaobo will definitely kill all the people he can see and turn them into his subordinates, and then smash the entire base to pieces, fully satisfying his crazy desire for destruction since childhood. Of course, if he can control it, the first thing Xiaobo has to do is to kill Jin Ke and then Zhang Shidao. These two villains are too annoying. Xiaobo can't think straight when he thinks of them. The dormitory manager downstairs heard the strange cry upstairs, and walked up the stairs in a strange way, and met a group of half-insect people led by Xiaobo head-on. The dormitory manager didn't even scream, and was knocked to the ground by Xiaobo's claws, and the matured larvae were injected into his body. When Xiaobo parasitized the dormitory manager and took a group of half-insect monsters to walk out of this dormitory building and go to another dormitory building to continue to expand the team, the detection equipment beside the door of the dormitory building found an abnormality and immediately fed back the relevant signal to the main brain. Warning, warning, an alien Zerg invasion has been detected in dormitory number 23. Currently, one source body and between 10 and 20 infected bodies have been detected. The base has activated Class C alert. Full quarantine. Full quarantine. Immediately close all the isolation hatches of the areas and activate the energy restriction protection of the isolation hatches. Detection system activated. Forced to perform a zone-by-zone scan. It was already past 6:30 in the game world, and the base had been powered on at 6 o'clock. After the main brain detected the alien Zerg invasion, it immediately activated the preset program and executed the Class C alert program, forcibly closing the isolation hatches between the areas, and at the same time activating the energy restriction protection of the isolation hatches, separating the various areas of the entire base into isolated islands that can only be connected to each other through communication. How could there be an alien Zerg invasion? Liu Liang, the security captain who was a little drowsy after working the night shift all night, was shocked when he heard the warning from the main brain. He quickly connected to the base's security system and checked the surveillance images in dormitory number 23. Just as Li Liang was checking, a claw of an alien insect suddenly stabbed the monitoring equipment above the dormitory area, and the monitoring images gradually disappeared from the screen one after another. Warning, warning, monitoring equipment number 2397 in dormitory area number 23 is damaged. Warning, warning, monitoring equipment number September 23, 2013 in dormitory area number 23 is damaged. Warning, warning, the base master kept reporting the news that the monitoring equipment was damaged. This is an intelligent alien insect. Could it be the third locust that escaped during the big cleanup operation last year? The experimenters in the genetic department are really harmful. After this batch of alien insects reappeared, they actually learned from the last lesson and knew to destroy the monitoring equipment first. Li Liang quickly picked up the communicator and reported this new situation to his superior. Alien insect invasion? Zhang Shidao, who was sleeping in the dormitory, was very annoyed and wanted to curse after being awakened by the alarm, but after hearing the specific content of the alarm, he was scared to the point of sweating on his back. It can't be the one Junming and I got, right? It's impossible, right? It just hatched, and it's still a larva. Zhang Shidao quickly put on his clothes and wanted to go to the equipment department to check the situation. Oh no, something happened. As soon as Zhang Shidao opened the door, Liu Junming, who lived in the dormitory next to him, rushed in from outside, stretched out his hand to push Zhang Shidao back into the room and closed the door. This is a big deal. I have to go to the equipment department to check. Zhang Shidao whispered a few words to Liu Junming, and was about to open the door when Liu Junming pulled him back. I can't go. All the partition isolation doors have fallen down. Now the base is on sea level alert. You don't understand sea level alert, right? Liu Junming reminded Zhang Shidao a few words. Sea level alert. I'm getting old and confused. Zhang Shidao patted his forehead. Now we can't do anything. We can only wait for news. Liu Junming paced in the room, looking a little anxious. I made a one-way space rune array. The hatch of the warehouse is very heavy and locked. Outsiders can't get in, and the bugs can't get out from inside. Zhang Shidao was very confused. The place where the alien insects invaded is the number 23 dormitory area. That is the dormitory area for new employees. It is quite far away from the equipment department. It shouldn't be a problem with our bugs. Liu Junming analyzed it. I hope so. If something happens to our bug, we will both be sentenced to death. Zhang Shidao's face was a little ugly. You know, Liu Junming instigated him to do this. It won't be that unlucky. Didn't you take strict precautions? I hope so. Chapter 104, Elimination Procedure. Thanks to Professor Qin from Tsinghua University for the 50,000 starting coins reward. Doc seems to be in dormitory area 23 as well. Liu Junming thought for a moment and added, well, the latest batch of new employees are all in dormitory area 23. Zhang Shidao also had some impression of this. Could it be that he accidentally released the bugs? Liu Junming frowned. Impossible. He doesn't have the key card and password to that warehouse. You know, the warehouse where we put the bug eggs is a safe warehouse in the equipment department. The alloy door is 5 centimeters thick. Unless you get the key card and password in my hand, it can't be opened at all. Zhang Shidao shook his head. Yes, this kind of alloy hatch can only be destroyed by a high-energy cutter, but who dares to use a high-energy cutter to cut doors for fun in the base? Doc is cautious by nature, and it is even more impossible for him to do such a thing. So, it must not be our eggs that are in trouble. I think there may be other people playing with insects in this space. Let's not panic. Wait until the news is clear. Liu Junming's analysis made him feel much more at ease. The alien insect invasion happened just in the new dormitory area. My apprentice is probably in danger this time. Zhang Shidao sighed. There is no way. This is his fate. Liu Junming also sighed. Zhang Shidao and Liu Junming were extremely panicked. But now the base is on sea level alert, and they cannot go to the equipment department to investigate the situation. All they can do is stay together and wait for follow-up news. The senior leaders of the base live in several dormitory areas. At this time, the isolation hatches between the dormitory areas are all forcibly closed by the main brain. Several senior leaders can only use communication equipment and projection technology to hold a virtual meeting. According to the latest information, Dormitory Area 23 has been occupied. All monitoring devices, detection devices, and communication devices have been destroyed by the Zerg. The entire base is currently in a state of isolation. Dormitory Area 23 is out of contact. The main brain is scanning each area, and no traces of Zerg have been found in other areas. Luo Ye, who is in charge of security, reported the situation to other senior leaders of the base. What is the type and number of Zerg? The main brain should have the identification results out, right? Fan Wenji, the head of the base and the #1 person in charge of the entire base, asked Luo Ye. Let the security captain Li Liang tell us in detail. Luo Ye had just woken up not long ago and did not know much about the situation, so he simply asked his subordinate Li Liang to report directly to the senior leaders. All monitoring and detection devices have been lost in dormitory area number 23, so we can't make any judgments based on the fact that they can actively attack monitoring, detection and communication devices while avoiding monitoring. They should be intelligent alien insects. My personal judgment is that they may be the experimental type of locust number 3 that was missed in the big cleanup operation last year. Of course, this is just my personal judgment. Li Liang took over Luo Ye's words. How many? Fan Wenji asked. The last accurate signal detection by the main brain confirmed that there was one active body and more than a dozen infected bodies, but the actual number may be more than what the main brain detected, because they soon destroyed the monitoring and detection equipment in dormitory area number 23. Security Captain Li Liang continued to report on his work. Sister Zhang, how many people are there in dormitory area number 23? What are their composition? Fan Wenji asked Zhang Daxiu, the deputy director in charge of personnel work. Zhang Daxiu is older, and everyone else in the base respectfully calls her Sister Zhang. There are about 160 people in dormitory area number 23, all of whom are newcomers who have been transferred here in the past 6 months. Zhang Daxiu answered Fan Wenji. Captain Li, have no alien insect invasions been found in other areas yet? Base Supervisor Fan Wenji confirmed with Security Captain Li Liang again. Yes, no. The main brain's comprehensive investigation has not yet been completed. So far, only the abnormality has been found in dormitory area number 23. The main brain reacted quickly and quickly isolated the various areas of the base. Li Liang replied to Fan Wenji, that's good. If it's only dormitory area number 23, the loss is within our tolerance. Luo Ye's tone seemed very relaxed. Loss? Within our tolerance? Supervisor Luo. This is 160 lives. You say this as if you are talking about chickens, ducks and dogs in the breeding area. Zhang Daxiu, the base's personnel supervisor, was a little dissatisfied with Luo Ye's tone just now. Are you blaming me, Sister Zhang? Could it be that Sister Zhang thinks this invasion is my responsibility? Luo Ye snorted coldly. We can't confirm who is responsible now. When the first phase of the main brain alarm is lifted, we will slowly study the issue of responsibility. No matter who is responsible, we will pursue it to the end. Someone must be responsible for the loss of these 160 lives. Fan Wenji's tone became extremely stern. It's too early to say that they are lost. If a rescue team is sent in time, some newcomers may be rescued, but I feel that you don't even want to mention rescue. Zhang Daxiu's tone became a little intense. Rescue? Sister Zhang, this is a sea-level alert. Can the base withstand a sea-level crisis? Go to rescue them, and then let the entire base be destroyed? Which is more important, these 160 lives, or the entire base? Luo Ye said in a mocking tone. If we don't rescue people, what are the security personnel for? Eat and drink all day and do nothing? It's better to withdraw the security department and save some resources for the base. Zhang Daxiu retorted to Luo Ye. Sister Zhang, Director Luo is right about this. We are at sea-level alert. We cannot send out a rescue team rashly before we understand the situation. Now our top priority is to find out what happened and who caused the alien insect incident, and then find a way to deal with this crisis. Fan Wenji stopped the quarrel between Zhang Daxiu and Luo Ye. Don't worry, Director Fan. I will find out who is responsible for this matter. This is also the responsibility of our security department. Luo Ye answered Fan Wenji righteously. After the main brain scans and checks other areas, what should we do with the isolated dormitory area number 23? Let the alien insects develop inside? From a technical perspective, if it takes too long, the energy restriction isolation door will not be safe. If it is broken by this intelligent alien insect, our entire base will be in trouble. Ran Makian, the head of the equipment maintenance department, also raised this issue to the senior executives. You don't have to worry about this. The main brain has already set up a program, similar to the sea-level alert like the alien insect disaster. The elimination program will be automatically activated after 24 hours. The death rays and ultra-high temperature will completely eliminate all the biological bodies in the dormitory area number 23. Luo Ye replied to Ran Makian. Chapter 105 Automatic Defense System. There are more than 160 newcomers in dormitory number 23. Wipe them out? Do you think you are killing a few chickens and dogs? Do you still have any humanity? Zhang Daxiu has always disliked Luo Ye. Today's communication meeting was in the form of virtual projection, and he could not see the real person. Zhang Daxiu could not help but confront Luo Ye. More than 160 newcomers? It's just the loss of more than a dozen energy cores. Can't we just exchange some back at the trading market next time? What's the big deal? Humanity? When a crisis occurs, some saintly bitches who only raise questions but don't solve them are the most annoying. Luo Ye deliberately provoked Zhang Daxiu with words. Zhang Daxiu was so provoked by Luo Ye that he couldn't speak for a long time. Leaders, why don't you activate the automatic defense system and let the main brain use energy weapons to eliminate those alien insects? Security Captain Li Liang hurriedly helped his boss Luo Ye to change the subject. Have you forgotten the incident of the main brain killing innocent people in the base last year? After that incident, the automatic defense system was forcibly dismantled. Base Supervisor Fan Wenji sighed. I told you long ago that it was a conspiracy. There is a traitor inside the base. He deliberately caused the automatic defense system to be dismantled. I have said many times that I want to start a comprehensive investigation, but unfortunately no one agrees. Now something has happened, right? Luo Ye said with a gloating tone. Traitor? Investigation? You are just taking the opportunity to eliminate dissidents, right? I believe that as long as you start the so-called comprehensive investigation, the first thing you will do is to arrest me and torture me. Zhang Daxiu replied to Luo Ye. Some people are indeed very suspicious, otherwise why do they always jump out at this time? Luo Ye snorted. Let's talk about the facts. Why did the mastermind kill innocent people in the base last year? How come those who died were people who didn't get along with you? Luo Ye. Fortunately, I didn't say anything bad about you before that. Otherwise, I'm afraid I wouldn't be alive until now. Zhang Daxiu was furious. Alright. Why are you still digging up those old rotten grains? Don't you know that we need unity, harmony? What time is it now? Fan Wenji, the base supervisor, interrupted the quarrel between Zhang Daxiu and Luo Ye. Now we can only watch helplessly. Let those alien insects slaughter the newcomers in dormitory area 23. Zhang Daxiu turned back to the main topic. It would be fine if we could watch helplessly, but the key is that we can't see anything now. Haha. Luo Ye sneered. Fuck you. Zhang Daxiu cursed. Quality. You are a piece of trash. How can you talk about quality, stinking bitch? If you curse again, don't blame me for being rude. Are you done yet? Avila. Wu Chuan reinstalled and logged into the game again, but the result was still blood red, with the 4 big words "you are dead" written on it. Maybe the cache was not cleared thoroughly. If it doesn't work, you can restore the phone to factory settings, then restart it with a double clear, and try to install the game again. Or, Just change a new phone and try to log in with another QQ number or WeChat number. Isn't there a client in the SD card? It's also very convenient to install the game on a new phone. Xiaobo gave Wu Chuan a few more ideas. Where can I buy a new phone at this time? How about this? You use my phone, reset it to factory settings, and then reinstall your account, and I use your phone, reset it to factory settings, and then reinstall a new account. I guess my phone has been memorized by the server, so I can't log in. Wu Chuan thought about it and proposed to Xiaobo. There are a lot of important information in my phone, and I can't reset it to factory settings. Xiaobo shook his head. Why? I'm all harmed by you. My phone still needs to be reinstalled? You don't have to agree. Anyway, I have nothing now. When the instructor wakes up, I will tell him all the bad things you did. Tell everyone that their deaths were caused by you. Wait for the studio to deal with it. Wu Chuan threatened Xiaobo angrily. Okay, but don't reinstall my phone first. I'll quit the game and you log in to try, and see if you can log in with a new account using my phone. Xiaobo had to compromise and quit the game, and handed the phone to Wu Chuan. Anyway, he couldn't control his character in the game now. Wu Chuan quickly took Xiaobo's phone, opened the client of Horror City and entered the game. The system detected an illegal login and will be forced to exit in 3 seconds. The system popped up a prompt and automatically exited the client in 3 seconds. Wu Chuan glanced at Xiaobo, and while Xiaobo was standing there in a daze, thinking about something, he quickly restored Xiaobo's phone to factory settings. What are you doing? Xiaobo snatched the phone back after finding out that something was wrong, but it was too late. I tried it just now, and it prompted me that I logged in illegally, and the game was forced to exit. I can only restore your phone to factory settings and try again after clearing both accounts, Wu Chuan said to Xiaobo as a matter of course. In his opinion, all this was caused by Xiaobo, and Xiaobo must bear the corresponding losses. Moreover, compared with the loss of Wu Chuan's character dying and losing his job, the loss of Xiaobo's phone restoring factory settings was nothing at all. At least wait for me to back up the data before you do it. Alas, I have so many girls in WeChat. Xiaobo glared at Wu Chuan in frustration. You have so many girls, who are you trying to fool? Solve my troubles first. It's all your fault. Wu Chuan snatched Xiaobo's phone away again. At about 6 o'clock in the morning, Jin Ke was awakened by the alarm of his Xiaomi phone. The character in the game had sat up from the bed by himself, looking around with a vigilant look on his face. The broadcast in the game kept repeating the warning of the alien insect invasion, and the place where the invasion occurred was in the number 23 dormitory area where Jin Ke and his colleagues in the villa were located. The number 23 dormitory area was divided into 10 buildings, with a wide corridor coming in. The 10 buildings were on both sides of the corridor and were built very neatly. Although the training base was inside the mountain, the dormitory buildings inside were designed with 2 floors, so they could be called dormitory buildings. The dormitory building where Xiaobo and Wu Chuan were in the accident was the 9th building, and it was at the innermost of the number 23 dormitory area with the 10th building. The Zerg source body that Xiaobo transformed into first commanded some of the clones to disperse and destroy all the monitoring equipment and detection equipment near the gates. The source body personally led the clones to carry out a bloodbath from the inside to the outside of each building. As the bloodbath progressed, the Zerg team became larger and larger. Jin Ke, Zushu and other players from the Azure Sunshine community were in Building 02 of the number 23 dormitory area in the game, which was the first room on the right-hand side of the entrance to the number 23 dormitory area. At present, the army led by the Zerg source body has not yet come for a bloodbath. Chapter 106 Remote Control. Thanks to Mr. Qin from Tsinghua University for the 50,000 starting coins reward. Even if Jin Ke's dormitory building is next to the door of dormitory area number 23, it is useless. The main gate of dormitory area number 23 has been sealed, and it is impossible to escape dormitory area number 23. Fortunately, the mastermind forced the opening of independent oxygen supply facilities in each area while forcing isolation, so there is no need to worry about suffocation for a while. Unlike the drunken irresponsible mentor that Xiaobo and Wu Chuan encountered, Chen Wei, the mentor of Building 16 of the Blue Home community, immediately walked out of the room and knocked on the dormitory doors of all employees after receiving the news, informing them of the accident at the base and asking them to wake up and cheer up to carry out self-rescue work. The incident was urgent, and Chen Wei did not have time to call everyone out of their dormitories, so he stood in the corridor and gave orders to everyone. Because the mentor and the student's characters in the game are not together, all he can provide is remote control command, and he cannot come to help the students resolve the crisis in person. The information I have learned from the studios so far, dormitory number 23 has been quarantined. In fact, the entire base is now in a state of quarantine, and the security personnel in each area are cooperating with the base mastermind to conduct a zone-by-zone check. Therefore, you will not be able to get help from outside for the time being, and you can only find a way to survive on your own to wait for rescue. What's a bit bad is that the alien insects with a certain degree of intelligence have destroyed all the monitoring equipment and external communication equipment in dormitory number 23. Outsiders don't know the situation inside. After 24 hours, the mastermind will automatically start the cleaning program, and the entire dormitory number 23 will experience nuclear radiation-like exposure and local high temperatures of thousands of degrees. By then, no matter whether it is the alien insects or your characters, there will be no trace left. Chen Wei quickly explained to everyone the current situation and the biggest difficulties they faced. There are so many experts in the base. Why did they isolate us directly when something happened? Why didn't they come to rescue us? That's too outrageous, isn't it? Start the cleaning procedure, kill us and the Zerg together. That's too shameless, isn't it? How can we save ourselves? How strong are these Zerg? How did they get into the base? Yes. Why is it only dormitory area number 23 that has an accident? The employees stood in front of their dormitories with their mobile phones, asking Chen Wei questions in a flurry. At present, the Zerg army is infecting and transforming the newcomers in other dormitory buildings. They haven't killed dormitory building number 2 yet, but it shouldn't be long. In the past, when disasters like Zerg invasion occurred, for these employees, the worst thing would be the death of their characters and the loss of their jobs. However, after the Woziangchun incident, except for a few newly recruited employees, most people knew that once their characters in the game died, they would die in reality. At this time, when faced with unexpected events such as Zerg invasion that could kill them, they couldn't remain calm. This was related to their own lives. Quiet, quiet. No one will survive if we continue to argue. Your dormitory in the game has 2 floors. According to the current feedback, the second floor is temporarily safe. Now I need a volunteer to go downstairs to check the situation on the first floor. Then come back and report to me to see if the Zerg have entered the lobby on the first floor. Confirm how much preparation time you have. Who will go? If no one stands up at this time, everyone will die. I will give extra rewards to anyone who is willing to go down and wait until the disaster is over. Chen Wei glanced at everyone. I'll go. Zhu Shu raised his hand, then controlled his character to quickly go down the stairs to check the situation on the first floor below. Time is running out. I can only give you a rough description of the situation you are facing now. According to the information provided by the main brain, the alien insects that invaded dormitory area number 23 this time are a very powerful intelligent alien insect that appeared in the large-scale cleanup operation a year ago. The characteristic of this alien insect is that after entering the human body, it will live in the human internal organs, and then its nervous system will quickly connect to the human nervous system and replace the human brain's control over the body. At the same time, some special substances it secretes will improve the structure of the human body, allowing the human body to gradually become an insect body. This type of alien insect is divided into source bodies and infected bodies. Infected bodies may also evolve into new source bodies. The strength of infected bodies is between D level and C level warriors, while the strength of source bodies is between C level and B level. The main brain's last detection found a source body and a dozen infected bodies. If such an alien insect team launches a surprise attack from the inside, it is likely to lead to the destruction of the entire base. So in this case, The main brain will forcibly isolate the infected area in order to preserve the entire base. Chen Wei was explaining at a fast pace while Zhu Shu went downstairs for reconnaissance. Chen Wei's understanding of the Zerg incident was all from the official information of the studio. He didn't know that the Zerg this time was a deformed body after a larva swallowed the energy crystal and was forced to grow. Whether it was the source body or the infected body, the strength was far inferior to the normal Zerg. The base and even the main brain didn't understand the specific situation, and directly activated the sea-level alert. The wrong judgment made this group of newcomers lose the chance to be rescued. The strength of the source body is between C and B, and the strength of the infected body is between D and C. There are still more than a dozen. Aren't we doomed? I'm afraid there are more than a dozen now. What the hell is going on? Isn't the base very safe? Why did the Zerg suddenly invade? And they appeared in the dormitory area number 23. Did the Zerg drill out from the ground? Why didn't the base have a plan for this before? The employees' emotions were obviously out of control, and they raised various questions to Chen Wei. I have never encountered such a situation before. I don't know why. Everyone stay calm. Keep quiet. Zhu Shu, how is the reconnaissance? Chen Wei asked Zhu Shu. The door to the first floor lobby is open. We didn't see the dormitory manager, nor did we find any traces of the monster, but there were screams and sounds of fighting coming from the corridor outside. Zhu Shu stood at the stairs to scout and reported to Chen Wei. Zhu Shu, can you go to the door to see the situation in the corridor outside? Everyone else, take action and move all the movable things in your dormitory, such as cabinets, chairs, tables, etc., to the first floor lobby below. After Zhu Shu observed the situation outside, he closed the door to the first floor lobby and then blocked the door of the first floor lobby with the things you moved down. I am too far away from you. What I can do now is to contact the studio and try to provide you with the best help I can. But you must work hard to hold on until the rescue arrives. This is also an examination of your ability by the studio after you enter the studio. I hope you can all submit a satisfactory answer. Chen Wei encouraged the new employees. Chapter 107. Do your best. Thanks to Mr. Qin from Tsinghua University for giving me 50,000 starting coins. The rescue that Chen Wei promised to the employees was just empty talk. Currently, neither the studio nor the base has any rescue plan. Although the employees were a little nervous at this time, Chen Wei's calm command still made them feel a little bit of reliance. They didn't know that other dormitory buildings had suffered heavy casualties, and even guess whether this was an exercise deliberately arranged by the studio and the base to inspect them. At this time, they hurriedly moved the tables or chairs in their rooms, as Chen Wei said, and prepared to move them to the lobby on the first floor. Jin Ke felt that what happened tonight was unusual. Instructor Chen Wei did not have any reliable experience in facing this crisis. He just gave orders instinctively. If he wanted to survive this crisis, he had to find a way to save himself. After the new students entered the base, the contribution points they accumulated were not enough to exchange for equipment and weapons from the base. Because they had not graduated from training, the base did not issue them standard equipment. After the alien insect invasion, most of them did not even have basic weapons and equipment. Without equipment, you can only rely on your health and alien insects in battle. If you are unarmed, your damage output is only 1/4 to 1/10 of that with weapons, so you can imagine how poor your combat effectiveness is. In this situation, although it is just a group of deformed alien insects invading, they are facing a group of new students who don't even have the most basic weapons and equipment. It feels like an army armed with guns and cannons slaughtering a group of primitive people with spears and stones. Jin Ke showed the advantage of working in the equipment department at this time. Of course, there is also the advantage brought by the accumulation of goodwill between him and Zhang Shidao. The last time Jin Ke and Zhang Shidao went out to pull the statue together, Zhang Shidao rented Jin Ke a set of E-level assassin gray leather armor and an E-level gray dagger that was just right for Jin Ke's current equipment. After dragging the statue back from outside, Zhang Shidao did not ask for the equipment back, so Jin Ke did not return the equipment and dagger. After the accident, Jin Ke put on the E-level assassin's gray suit as soon as possible, picked up the E-level gray dagger, and after putting it on, he felt much safer. The game Horror City also has a set of weapons and equipment systems similar to other games. Weapons and equipment have different levels and qualities. The levels refer to E level, 2E level, 3E level, D level and other levels. The higher the level of the weapon, the higher the basic attribute requirements of the user. For example, for an E level assassin weapon, the main attribute of the assassin's agility must be at least 15. And for a 2E level assassin weapon, the user's agility must be at least 18. The quality of weapons and equipment is the same as other games, and is also divided into gray, white, blue, purple, orange, etc. Gray is a weapon with the prefix shabby. The attack power of gray weapons is only 1 times the basic output. White weapons are weapons with the prefix ordinary, which is 1.2 times the basic output. Blue weapons are 1.4 times, purple weapons are 1.7 times, and orange weapons are 2 times. Gray and white equipment do not have any additional attributes. Blue equipment generally has additional combat attributes, such as damage ratio, penetration rate, dodge rate, critical hit damage, etc. Purple equipment will also add a skill while adding combat attributes. Weapons generally add active attack skills, and equipment adds passive defense skills. In addition to adding combat attributes and a skill to purple equipment, orange equipment will also have increased basic attributes. It is said that there are epic and legendary weapons and equipment above orange equipment. In addition to the combat attributes, basic attributes and additional skills of orange weapons, these epic and legendary weapons and equipment can also be inlaid with various future technology chips. In addition to the occupations, all equipment is divided into 3 types. The cheapest is to defend against physical damage, that is, to defend against ordinary energy attacks, such as attacks caused by occupations such as tanks, warriors, assassins, and shooters. The more expensive ones are equipment that defends against magic damage, and defend against rune energy attacks caused by mage occupations. Magical defense equipment is generally 2 to 4 times the price of physical defense equipment. The most expensive is dual defense equipment that combines physical defense and magic defense. This type of equipment is relatively rare and the price is also the highest, often reaching 10 to 20 times the price of physical defense equipment. The quality of weapons and equipment determines the number of additional attributes of weapons and equipment, while the level of weapons and equipment determines the upper limit of the additional attributes of weapons and equipment. For example, E-level weapons and equipment can only increase the basic attribute by 2 points at most, but 2E-level weapons can increase the basic attribute by 4 points at most. 3E-level weapons can increase by 7 points at most, and D-level weapons can increase by 11 points at most. The higher the level of the weapon, the higher the upper limit of the additional attributes. If a warrior uses a gray weapon with a basic damage output of 10 points, his basic damage output with a purple weapon is 17 points, and the basic damage output with an orange weapon is 20 points. Some orange weapons increase 2 points of strength, so the basic damage output of this warrior reaches 12 points. The basic damage output when using an orange weapon is twice 12, reaching 24 points. Jin Ke's current set of weapons and equipment is of E level, and the quality is gray, which means it has the prefix shabby. Although this is an extremely basic set of weapons and equipment, it provides Jin Ke with 70 points of protection, and at the same time allows Jin Ke to face those deformed alien insects without bare hands. While wearing the weapons and equipment, Jin Ke also checked the current status of his 3 skills. Passive skill, Kiss of Death LV6, back attacks are bound to be critical hits, and the critical hit effect increases by 30% after LV6. Active skill, Arc of Death LV6, causes double damage, and the damage output increases by 30% after LV6. Active skill, Dance of Death LV6, dodge rate increases by 6%, and attack damage increases by 50% within 1 second after activation. After marking, the probability of energy nodes appearing can be greatly increased. After such a long period of training and preparation, no matter what situation he encounters tonight, Jin Ke will not sit and wait for death. especially since the life of the game character is related to the life of the player in the real world, and the operation cannot tolerate any mistakes. Jin Ke, who had just had a good sleep, was in a very energetic state at this time, and he was ready to fight. He would go all out to face the upcoming battle. No matter what the result was, he would do his best. When the employees were carrying tables and chairs and preparing to go downstairs according to the instructions of their mentor Chen Wei, they heard Zhu Shu, who was scouting outside the door, shouting that there was an insect monster, and they all stopped immediately. Chapter 108 The Incomparable Assassin. Don't panic. Zhu Shu, close the door. Others, move the tables and chairs down as quickly as possible to block the door of the dormitory building. Chen Wei continued to direct everyone. When Zhu Shu closed the door, a worm claw mutated from a human arm suddenly pierced in and got stuck in the crack of the door, making Zhu Shu unable to close the door. Zhu Shu tried hard to hold up the door, but was attacked by another worm claw that penetrated through the crack of the door. The character instantly lost 20 health points. I can't stand it. Hurry up, Zhu Shu yelled. The employees moved the tables and chairs to the lobby on the first floor in fear. Zhu Shu was attacked by the alien insect-infected body by the door again, and lost about 40 health points. If the alien insects had 2 or 3 more claws, his character would be dead. Zhu Shu, get out of the way. Jin Ke had already rushed to a place 5 or 6 meters away from the door and yelled at Zhu Shu. At this time, everyone noticed that Jin Ke was fully armed, and they couldn't help but envy Jin Ke's work in the equipment department. The dam base had never issued weapons and equipment to new employees. The weapons and equipment lent to them during the mission were collected at the end of the mission. As a result, after the insect plague, they were all unarmed and had no power to fight back against the attacks of the alien worms and infected bodies. Zhu Shu heard Jin Ke shouting and quickly retreated from the door. The alien worm-infected body took the opportunity to break open the dormitory door and rushed in. Looking at the fragments of clothes hanging on its body and its body shape, it was obviously the female dormitory manager of the second dormitory building where Jin Ke was previously. After being infected by the alien worm, she wandered back to the second dormitory building for some reason. Although Zhu Shu retreated from the door, the extremely agile alien worm-infected body was not ready to let him go. Another claw attack knocked down Zhu Shu's health by about 20 points. Now Zhu Shu had more than 30 health points left, which was only enough to withstand 1 or 2 more attacks. If the Zerg-infected body had hit a critical hit, Zhu Shu would have been killed. Taking advantage of the opportunity when the Zerg-infected body was chasing Zhu Shu, Jin controlled his character to rush behind the Zerg-infected body. With a flash of blood, a death arc attacked the back of the Zerg-infected body. The health plugin detected that the Zerg's health value was 227, which was nearly 3 times higher than that of ordinary players. It should be because the body was strengthened after the insect transformation. The single damage of the Zerg-infected body to Zhu Shu just now was only about 20 points, which was far less powerful than what Chen Wei described. Jin Ke felt that as long as he was careful, he should have a chance to kill the Zerg-infected body. Critical hit. You caused 37 points of damage to the target. Jin Ke has been strengthening his strength training recently. His basic damage has reached 6. Kiss of Death's back attack will definitely be a critical hit, which makes his back attack damage reach about 12. After Kiss of Death LV6, the critical hit effect increases by 30%, which makes his damage reach about 16. The double damage of Arc of Death makes his damage reach about 31. After LV6, the damage increases by 30%, which makes his output reach about 40. Finally, the critical hit result of 37 points of damage was formed. Seeing the damage prompt on the mobile phone screen, Jin couldn't help but cheer up. It seems that this alien insect-infected body is far less powerful than imagined. Its basic defense is not even as good as the Black Corpse. Jin Ke's output can cause complete damage to it. Jin Ke, how come your output is so high? What skill did you use? It's too amazing, isn't it? The last time I watched the video of you in Jalbo Park, you always did 5 or 10 points of damage. This is too fast. Seeing the minus 37 points of damage floating above the head of the Zerg-infected body, Zhu Shu and the other new students who were watching were extremely surprised. Jin Ke turned off the character's skill display, The onlookers didn't know what skill Jin Ke used to cause such high damage. In addition, they didn't know that Jin Ke had used the opportunity of the last field mission to upgrade all 3 skills to level 6. Xiaobo's blood slash skill is indeed amazing, but the critical damage caused by Jin Ke's death arc combined with Kiss of Death is far more powerful than Xiaobo's blood slash. Jin Ke was not in the mood to listen to the exclamations of the onlookers. After a successful attack, he immediately stepped back a few steps, and then focused on the Zerg-infected body whose hatred value had been transferred to him. The Zerg-infected body seemed extremely angry after being attacked by Jin Ke. It hissed and gave up attacking Zhu Shu. It quickly turned around and rushed towards Jin Ke, who was retreating. The crowd exclaimed. Just as its claws were about to fall on Jin Ke used a death dance to go around behind the Zerg-infected body. The death arc had just cooled down in 4 seconds. With a flash of blood, Jin Ke released another skill. Critical hit. You caused 63 damage to the target. Jin Ke's LV6 death arc had a critical hit damage of about 40 points behind him. The damage increased by 50% within 1 second after the death dance skill ended, making Jin Ke's attack burst out with 63 points of damage. The Zerg-infected body had 227 health points, and 100 points were instantly drained, leaving 127 points. 666. Damn, the 37 just now wasn't the highest. This time it's 63 points. The game can be played like this. I'm enlightened. Jin Ke, upgrade your skills a few more levels. Are you trying to kill people in 1 second? Is this an assassin game? I worship you. What a hidden talent. Xiaobo is really blind. The onlookers once again expressed various feelings. 63 points of damage is a height that they dare not even think about now. However, they don't know that this is not Jin Ke's limit. Chen Wei also frowned slightly. Such Jin Ke is still not the secret guardian of the system. Then, how strong should the real secret guardian be? The alien worm-infected body missed 2 consecutive attacks, and was instead drained of nearly half of its health by Jin Ke. It immediately fell into a violent state and immediately turned around and attacked Jin Ke with a claw attack. But Jin Ke did not want to fight after he succeeded, and had already retreated a few meters away. The alien worm-infected body roared and chased after Jin Ke. 4, 3, 2, 1. After the previous attack was successful, Jin Ke had been waiting for the death arc to cool down. When the Zerg-infected caught up with Jin Ke and was about to swing its claws to attack Jin Ke used the 4-character formula that he had already mastered to bypass the Zerg-infected again. Critical hit. You caused 41 damage to the target. The health of the Zerg-infected dropped from 127 points to 86 points. This bypass method is amazing. Fully manual operation method. I will never be able to reach this level with my clumsy hands. It feels like classmate Jin Ke is going to kill this Zerg without any damage. Do you want to know the creation process of Death mobile game? Do you want to see the real-time video of the author creating this book? Follow the WeChat account, Obaya, and you can see it. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 109. Are we playing the same game? Thanks to Professor Qin from Tsinghua University for the 50,000 starting coins reward. If I had known that assassins were so powerful, I should have practiced assassins. Don't dream. I'm also an assassin. Why am I not that powerful? The crowd seemed to have completely forgotten the danger they were facing, and were all immersed in the emotion and amazement of Jin Ke's operating ability and super high output. The Zerg-infected body became extremely manic and turned around to chase Jin Ke again. If Jin Ke had not retreated immediately after the successful attack, his speed would not be as fast as the Zerg-infected body, and it would be difficult to escape the attack of the Zerg-infected body's claws. Just when the Zerg-infected body was about to catch up with Jin Ke and waved his claws to attack Jin Ke again, the 10-second cooldown of Jin Ke's death dance was up. The next moment, there was a flash of light and shadow, and Jin Ke appeared behind the Zerg-infected body again. The two death dance marks increased the probability of the energy node appearing behind the body of the Zerg-infected by 40%. A very lucky thing happened. This 40% probability made an energy node appear behind the Zerg-infected body. Jin Ke was quick-witted and immediately attacked the energy node with a death arc very accurately. Hitting the energy node behind the target is like playing a shooting game and sniping the moving target's head from a long distance. It depends on the hand speed and the feeling of the game. It is difficult for ordinary players to operate so accurately. Only game operation maniacs and talented players like Jin can do it after countless hard training and practice in various similar games. Super energy crit. You caused 122 damage to the target. Super kill end. The host is destroyed and the Zerg is about to escape. The life value of the Zerg-infected body was instantly drained, and several prompts appeared on Jin Ke's mobile phone screen. 122 points of damage. Oh my titanium dog eyes. Didn't they say that the Zerg-infected were of D to C level strength? He just died like that? Is this normal for a new player? Are we playing the same game? We're playing a survival game. They're playing a game of mowing down enemies with unparalleled skills. 122 points. Park with other players. It's really a one-hit kill rhythm. Full health kill. Professional players, right? What is an assassin? This is an assassin. Berserker's Creed. All my previous games were in vain. The onlookers were completely stunned. In just over half a minute, Jin Ke's damage output was close to 300, and he took 0 damage himself. And he killed a Zerg-infected with full health. Even the instructor Chen Wei was stunned when he looked at the screen of Zhu Xu's phone. Jin Ke's skills, damage output ability, and his growth rate are not much worse than the system's secret guardian, right? While all the spectators were exclaiming, lamenting, and sighing, Jin Ke was extremely focused, his eyes fixed on the corpse on the ground. At a certain moment, a bug with more than a dozen legs suddenly emerged from the mouth of the corpse. After crawling out of the mouth of the corpse, it immediately screamed and shot towards Jin Ke's face at high speed, trying to grab Jin Ke's face and then force its way into Jin Ke's mouth. Fortunately, Jin Ke, a master of game operation, was well prepared and reacted very quickly. Almost at the same time as the alien insect was ejected, the dagger in his hand had already stabbed out and stabbed the round head of the insect head on. It was just a small dot on the screen. Originally, with the attack power of this grey dagger, if Jin Ke did not release skills, it would not be possible to assassinate the alien insect with one attack. But because the force of the Zerg's ejection was too great and the speed of its rush was too fierce, its entire head violently hit the sharp blade of the dagger with concentrated energy, and in an instant, a super energy critical hit similar to the energy node being hit was produced. Bang! A burst of shells. The head of the Zerg was pierced by the dagger. The Zerg's dozen legs twitched and kicked for a while before drooping down. The system finally gave a prompt of target death. A light black mist escaped from the body of the worm and drilled into Jin Ke's body. At the same time, the energy points in his account increased by 10. Although it was the first time to fight against the Zerg infected, Jin Ke still completed the first kill with full health and full armor. This alien insect-infected body is not as strong as expected. It seems that the situation has changed. The main brain made a mistake in judgment. I have reported this situation to the studio. The studio should notify the base soon and try to get the base to send a rescue team to the dormitory area as soon as possible. Now everyone, work together. While the source body and other infected bodies have not come yet, quickly block the door. Buy more time for the rescue to arrive. After Chen Wei saw everything that happened on the scene through Zhu Xu's mobile phone screen, he remembered his responsibilities and immediately continued to direct everyone. According to the studio's regulations, employees cannot watch each other's game screens, but this rule is just like the company's regulations in the real world that employees are not allowed to ask each other's salary. Not many people follow it privately. The studio has not formulated corresponding punishment measures for this rule, so in today's special situation, Chen Wei checked Zhu Xu's mobile phone screen in order to help these new employees violate the rules. Of course, with Zhu Xu's consent. After the battle, Jin Ke's previously tense nerves finally relaxed a little. In other games, if the character dies, the worst that can happen is that he will go back to his birthplace to revive. and then go to the corpses to pick up equipment. But this game is different. Once he dies, he will not only lose this job with a daily salary of 500, but also his life. The new employees picked up the tables, chairs and benches they had moved down from the dormitory room upstairs, moved these things behind the door and piled them up to block the door. In addition, Jin Ke's extremely heroic performance just now made them finally feel a little safe at this time. When others were moving things to block the door, Jin Ke did not go over to help. He looked at the corpse on the ground. After killing a monster, there is one thing you must do. That is to touch the corpse. There are two corpses. One is a worm corpse, and the other is an infected human corpse. Jin Ke touched the worm corpse on the screen with his finger, and the system popped up a description text. An ordinary Zerg bred from a Zerg source. It looks like it has been deformed for some reason, and its quality is much worse than that of a normal Zerg. After the system popped up the description, there was no prompt that Jin Ke had touched any treasure. It seemed that this was a Zerg corpse that would not drop treasure. But since the description mentioned quality, Jin Ke felt that this Zerg corpse might be some kind of raw material itself, which could be used to make potions or something like that. Chapter 110, Alien Insect Claws. The worm corpse was not big or heavy. After the energy and body fluids were exhausted, the corpse quickly deflated. Jin Ke packed it up in his bag. If he could survive this insect plague, he might be able to use it to exchange for some contribution points from the base. Jin Ke touched the infected corpse again, and the system also popped up the corresponding description. Corpse of an alien worm-infected body, the product of an ordinary person's corpse being parasitized by alien worms and then killed again. There seems to be some dark energy remaining in the bones of the corpse. The strong physique and attack power of the alien worms seem to come from these bones. If you want to get these bones, you need to have LV1 dissection skills. Do you need to dissect it? Zushu came over. He had been helping in the kitchen before. He awakened the life skill dissection and added points to LV2. Seeing Jin Ke touching the corpse, he had wanted to come over to practice. The worm corpse cannot be dissected. This corpse requires LV1 dissection skills. Jin Ke said to Zushu, I have LV2 dissection skills. I can help you dissect, but if you have extra materials that you don't need, can you give me some? Zushu asked Jin Ke. Of course. It didn't matter if Jin Ke didn't give him the materials. He just wanted to take the opportunity to practice and accumulate more experience points to improve the level of his dissection skills. Life skills are different from combat skills. They cannot be directly improved with energy points. They require a lot of repeated training. Only after accumulating a certain amount of experience points can the skill level be improved. Okay, Jin Ke said indifferently. This kind of low-level monster only needs LV1 dissection skills to dissect, and it is unlikely that any valuable treasures will be dissected out. No problem. Lend me your dagger. After Zushu took the dagger from Jin Ke, he immediately used the dissection skill on the corpse. His dissection skills were usually trained by dissecting chickens, ducks, pigs, sheep, etc. in the kitchen, and he improved very slowly. I think dissecting the corpses of alien insects will definitely be very helpful in improving his dissection skills. Jin Ke was on guard nearby, and other players who had blocked the door with tables, chairs, and wooden cabinets also came over to watch Zushu's autopsy. Zushu's autopsy skills were very low, and his character's movements seemed clumsy, so it took a little longer. It took more than 5 minutes to complete the autopsy of the Zerg-infected body. The Zerg-infected body has been autopsied. You have obtained some broken bones, 3 of which seem to still have dark energy. Several lines of prompts appeared on Zushu's screen. The body of the Zerg-infected body in front of him was decomposed into a pile of bones and some rotten meat. 3 of the bones were dark in color, and there was a faint black mist around them. They should be the spoils of Jin Ke's battle this time. There are a total of 3 bones with energy left. You can divide them up as you see fit. Zushu returned the dagger to Jin Ke and pushed the 3 dark bones in front of Jin Ke. Jin Ke observed carefully and found that one of the thinner and sharp bones should be the claw mutated by the infected body of the insect corpse. The color is the darkest among the 3 bones, and the black fog lingering on it is thicker than the other 2. It seems that it can be used as a weapon. Jin Ke tried to equip this claw, and it was really equipped in his hand. You are equipped with an ordinary alien insect claw. Ordinary alien insect claw, E-level white equipment of assassin system, attack power 1.2, attribute, biological weapon. Runes cannot be engraved on the surface of the weapon. Jin couldn't help but be overjoyed. He didn't expect it to be a weapon, and it's a white weapon. The attack power is 1.2, which is much stronger than the original gray dagger in his hand. This means that when he uses this claw to attack, he has a chance to cause 1.2 times the damage value before. Don't underestimate the dissection of LV1 and LV2. For them who are still new, they can still dig out some treasures. Jin Ke, who was originally a 5th ranked warrior, became a 6th ranked warrior after a period of strength training. Now he has a white weapon and has finally evolved to a 7th ranked warrior. Don't underestimate this 1.2 times. Jin Ke's Kiss of Death, Death Dance and Death Arc all have a damage bonus effect. When accumulated together, this extra 0.2 times is sometimes the difference between winning and losing, life and death. The other two thick bones are two thigh bones dissected from corpses. Jin cannot equip them, but he can check their properties after trying to equip them. These two thigh bones are hammer weapons that can be used by tanks and warriors. They have the prefix rough, which is the same as the prefix worn, indicating that they are E-level gray weapons, like the Xue'er claw. It is also a biochemical weapon that cannot be enhanced by rune carving. Here's the dagger. Jin Ke has not awakened the passive skill of the two-handed weapon and cannot dual wield. After trying the Xue'er claw and finding it very useful, he gave the original dagger in his hand to Zhu Shu. Through daily contact, Jin Ke knew that although Zhu Shu was a rich second generation, he was a good person. Just now, when the instructor Chen Wei asked an employee to go down for reconnaissance, Zhu Shu knew it was dangerous but still took on the task at the first time, which also showed that he was a very responsible person, and a trustworthy partner. It was also Zhu Shu's credit to dissect the alien insect claws. Zhu Shu happened to be an assassin, so it would be more appropriate to give him this dagger. Just now, when Jin Ke was fighting, Yuzu gave Zhu Shu a bottle of very low-level red medicine. Luo Chun made it and gave it to Liu Zhu. After taking the bottle of red medicine, Zhu Shu's health value recovered a lot with the nourishment of this bottle of red medicine. He can fight side by side with Jin Ke later with the dagger. Jin Ke was going to give the two leg bones to Niyu and Zhaobaking. Both of them were tank professions with a health value of about 150 points. If there was a battle later, they could help assassin professions such as Jin Ke and Zhu Shu withstand several attacks at critical moments. Although he is no longer a weakling, Jin Ke does not think that he can survive this crisis by his own strength. The key to their survival today is to arm the entire team as soon as possible and form complementary relationships among the various professions. I want to distribute the leg bones to the two of them. What do you think? Jin Ke pointed at Niyu and Zhaobaking and asked Zhu Shu. These things were dissected by Zhu Shu, so it would be better to ask for his opinion. Your distribution is very reasonable, and this matter should have been decided by you. Zhu Shu looked at Jin Ke with admiration. These spoils all belonged to Jin Ke. He could take them out and distribute them to everyone at this time to arm the entire team, which showed that Jin Ke was a person with a big picture view. Chapter 111. This is not a game. Thanks to Professor Qin from Tsinghua University for the 50,000 starting coins. Thanks to the Longzishan Group for the 50,000 starting coins. Thank you. Niyu and Zhaobaking were very excited and happy after receiving the weapons. They were trapped in the dormitory area without weapons and could only be slaughtered by the alien insects. With weapons in hand, the feeling would be very different. This is not a game. This is a real battle. I give you weapons because I hope you can become my teammates and partners who live and die together, not cowards and deserters. If a battle occurs later, I will output at my best and try to keep everyone alive, but don't hesitate when it's your turn to carry the monster and attract hatred. Otherwise I can't guarantee what I will do to you before I die. After Jin Ke gave the bones, he showed the alien insect claws and reminded Niyu and Zhaobaking in a very cold tone. At this time, Jin Ke was no longer the taciturn otaku in everyone's impression. The powerful strength he showed in the battle just now made no one dare to disobey his orders at the scene. You know, this is not just a game. People can really die. Don't worry, We are in the same boat, we live and die together. Zhao Beiqing made a solemn promise to Jin Ke, even if I die in the game, I can't let people call me a coward. Niu also waved the bones in his hand and proudly replied to Jin Ke, alas. Mentor Chen Wei sighed, looking at the scene in front of him with tears in his eyes. At this time, he should have been the one to inspire morale and encourage these new employees to persevere. But the abilities and qualities of these new employees, especially Jin Ke, Zhu Shu and others, have exceeded his expectations. Their responsibilities and commitments are leading the team. Maybe they can really survive this desperate situation. Just after the spoils were distributed, there was a violent banging sound outside the door. The impact was strong enough that a big hole was soon knocked out of the not-so-strong door of the dormitory building. The defense line of the gate built by the employees under the guidance of their mentor Chen Wei was fragile. The tables and chairs behind the door were quickly knocked open or torn apart by the claws of the Zerg-infected bodies. 4 Zerg-infected bodies rushed into the first-floor hall of the dormitory building one after another, opened their insect mouths and screamed at the people in the hall. The Zerg source bodies were busy injecting and breeding corpses in other dormitory buildings at this time. The process took a long time. At present, only these 4 Zerg-infected bodies were sent as the vanguard to slaughter the O2 dormitory building, and then the source bodies came to deal with the corpses in person. In other buildings, the Zerg source bodies did not encounter effective resistance, so there were not many Zerg-infected bodies sent to slaughter the O2 dormitory building this time. Although not many, 4 of them were enough to give Jin Ke a headache. Jin Ke's armor was a total of 70 points. Plus his current health value of 91 points, which was about 161 points. These 4 Zerg-infected bodies only needed to catch him twice. As an assassin, especially one like Jin Ke who had to attack from behind to achieve the highest output, it was not easy to face 4 fast and agile Zerg-infected bodies head-on. Once they surrounded him, he would be in big trouble. Niu, Zhao Beiqing. Mentor Chen Wei called 2 names. It's my turn. If I die, when you see my parents, tell them that their son is also a young man of the new era with ideals and ambitions, not the useless person they imagined. Niu rushed forward, waving a black thigh bone. Overlord Shield. The name of the skill appeared above Niu's head, and at the same time, his forward speed increased by about 50%, and a white energy shield appeared in front of his body. 2 Zerg-infected bodies that were rushing towards the crowd were hit head-on by Niu, and were knocked back 1 or 2 meters. After a howl, they stretched out their claws at the same time to attack Niu. The 2 damage values of about 20 points made the white energy shield in front of Niu dim quickly, but Niu also found an opportunity to swing the thigh bone in his hand, causing the 2 Zerg-infected bodies to explode with about 12 points of damage each. Charge bravely. Zhao Beiqing was a second or 2 later than Niu, but he rushed over silently. With a charge bravely skill, he knocked the other 2 Zerg-infected bodies back 4 or 5 meters, and caused single-digit damage to the 2 Zerg-infected bodies respectively. The tank profession focuses on defense, protection, control, and aggro, creating opportunities for teammates with high output. While the 2 tanks were pulling the aggro value, Jin Ke and Zhu Shu quickly sneaked behind one of the Zerg-infected bodies. Zhu Shu exploded with 27 points of damage, and Jin Ke exploded with 49 points of damage. 49 points of damage, of course, is due to the 1.2 times attack of the Zerg claws in his hands. The hatred of the attacked Zerg-infected body was transferred to Jin Ke. Jin Ke succeeded in 1 strike and did not want to fight. He immediately retreated quickly to attract it out of the battlefield. While retreating, as soon as the Death Arc skill cooled down, Jin Ke immediately used the Death Dance to go behind the Zerg-infected body, and another Death Arc harvested 72 points of the Zerg-infected body's health. Niu, Zhao Beiqing, and Zhu Shu fought with the other 3 Zerg-infected bodies. Their strength was not enough to compete with the 3 Zerg-infected bodies. Fortunately, Niu and Zhao Beiqing had enough health. They used skills to control the battlefield with the attacks of the Zerg-infected bodies. Zhu Shu was very agile and moved around, delivering 20 to 30 points of damage from time to time. A flash of blood flashed, and the Zerg-infected body that Jin pulled out of the battlefield had its health drained. The body fell limply to the ground. A moment later, A Zerg crawled out of the body's mouth. Death arc. This time, Jin Ke did not let it bounce. Instead, he used a skill with his Zerg claws. With a click, it pierced through the Zerg brain and killed it on the spot. This Zerg-infected body was a little stronger than the previous one. After killing it, it contributed 12 energy points to Jin Ke. Jin Ke ended the battle easily, but Ni Yu, Dao Beiqing, and Zhu Shu were in danger. The health of the three quickly reached the bottom, but the health of the three Zerg-infected bodies was still more than half. Under the command of Mentor Chen Wei, Ni Yu once again released the Overlord Shield skill, and Dao Beiqing also released the Brave Charge skill again. After forcing the three Zerg-infected bodies back, they evacuated the battlefield with Zhu Shu. Qin Heiji, Liu Zhu, Chen Yang, hand over your weapons and take over from the three of them. Mentor Chen Wei continued to issue instructions. Qin Heiji and Liu Zhu are warriors. Although they don't have as much health as Ni Yu and Dao Beiqing, they can still hold on for a while with the thigh bone. Chen Yang is one of the new employees recruited by the studio a while ago. Among these new employees, only Chen Yang has good qualities. He completed his job change a few days ago and became an assassin. Chapter 112 Skill Evolution. Thanks to Mr. Qin from Tsinghua University for the reward of 100,000 starting coins. Although Chen Yang had just changed his job and his combat power was very low, there was no other candidate who could use the dagger, so he had to force the issue. After receiving Chen Wei's order, Chen Yang immediately controlled the character to rush over and took over the dagger from Zhu Shu, together with Liu Zhu and Qin Heiji, who also took over the thigh bones from Ni Yu and Dao Beiqing. They pushed forward and released their skills to intercept the three alien worms that were chasing Ni Yu, Dao Beiqing, and Zhu Shu. After Jin killed an alien worm, he was able to free his hands and rejoin the battle. The four of them dealt with three alien worms more calmly than before. Not long after, another alien worm was knocked to the ground by Jin Ke, and the alien worm that crawled out of the corpse was also killed on the spot. Liu Zhu, Qin Heiji, and Chen Yang were running out of health and had to evacuate the battlefield. Jin Ke was still fully armored and fully healthy, fighting the remaining two Zerg-infected bodies alone. Although there were dangers everywhere, he relied on his incredible operating skills to avoid the siege of the two Zerg-infected bodies every time, and then used the Death Dance and 4-character formula to cut behind the Zerg-infected bodies, and then released the Death Arc to output super high critical damage again and again. Half a minute later, the two Zerg-infected bodies were knocked to the ground one after another. The Zergs were killed, and Jin Ke was still unharmed. The last Zerg-infected body killed was the most powerful, and after killing the Zerg, it contributed 15 energy points to Jin Ke. These Zerg-infected bodies do not have much intelligence, and they attack players only driven by instinct. After several battles, Jin Ke has completely understood the attack and movement methods of these Zerg-infected bodies. He believes that if he encounters 4 Zerg-infected bodies again, even if he is the only one to fight, he still has a chance to knock them all down without injury if he concentrates. Everyone cheered, but the instructor Chen Wei frowned more and more. Dao Beiqing, Ni Yu, Zhu Shu, Liu Zhu, Qin Heiji, and Chen Yang's health points have reached the bottom. Without red medicine, they can only rely on themselves to recover slowly. They can't fight again for a few hours. Except for Yu Gang, the other employees are newcomers who have not yet changed their jobs and have no combat power. Yu Gang is a shooter. Without a suitable weapon, he has no combat power. Sending him forward will only kill him. Although the new students in Dormitory Building O2 successfully killed 5 Zerg-infected bodies, there are more than 160 new students in Dormitory Area 23, which means that nearly 150 Zerg-infected bodies will appear in Dormitory Area 23 in the future. Not to mention that the combat power of the Zerg source body is far higher than these Zerg-infected bodies. Is it up to Jin Ke to deal with all this alone? When will the rescue arrive? In the villa, Yu Gang asked Chen Wei, and the other employees also looked at Chen Wei. Soon. Just hold on a little longer and the rescue will arrive. Chen Wei replied to Yu Gang with a very relaxed expression. Great, it looks like there is no danger today. The employees were very happy to hear Chen Wei's answer. Go to hell, there are bureaucrats everywhere. Chen Wei looked relaxed, but he was cursing in his heart. Just now, The studio gave him a reply, saying that the situation in dormitory area 23 was notified to the base through the studio's channels, but the base did not immediately send a rescue team, but continued to hold meetings to discuss and study. Director Chen, I know you want to stabilize the morale of the troops, but can the rescue really arrive? If not, I have to adopt other tactics, otherwise the situation will get worse and worse. Jin Ke went to the corridor and called Chen Wei aside to whisper a few words. Do you want to take the initiative? Chen Wei looked at Jin Ke. Yes, the source body is expanding its team. The longer it takes, the more disadvantageous it will be for us. The rescue will not arrive for a while, but if I tell everyone the truth, I'm afraid it will cause panic, and they no longer have any combat power. Chen Wei looked helpless. I know. Jin Ke didn't ask any more questions and prepared to go back to the room to continue fighting. Wait a minute. I have something to tell you. Chen Wei pulled Jin Ke. Go ahead. Jin Ke stopped. Your skill level should be level 5 or 6, right? Chen Wei asked Jin Ke. Yes. Jin Ke nodded. It's like this. This game has some hidden tricks for skill upgrades. When each skill is upgraded to a certain level such as LV8, LV16, LV32, it is possible for the skill to evolve. If LV8 fails to evolve, you can only wait for LV16. If LV16 still fails to evolve, you can only wait for LV32. Relatively speaking, the probability of displacement skill evolution is higher than that of passive skill, and the probability of passive skill evolution is higher than that of attack skill, but both require a certain amount of luck. Before this battle, you can consider upgrading a certain skill, such as your displacement skill, to LV8. If the skill successfully evolves, your combat strength will have a qualitative leap. Chen Wei passed on some of his valuable experience to Jin Ke. There is no official strategy for these experiences. They are all summarized by the players themselves, or obtained from very close friends, partners, and mentors. Generally, they are not easily told. Now Chen Wei's group of students are in a desperate situation. Rescue has not arrived yet. The only hope is placed on Jin Ke. Only if Jin Ke's strength is greatly improved can these students survive by chance. Thank you, Director Chen. Jin Ke saw that this was Chen Wei's extra instruction to him, so of course he had to express his gratitude. After you leave, I will have them block the stairs from the first floor to the second floor, and try to let them hold out until the rescue arrives. But you will not have the chance to return to the second floor. Chen Wei said a few more words to Jin Ke. In this battle, either die outside or kill all the alien insects. I have no way out. Jin Ke looked indifferent. Go. I believe you are a man who can create miracles. Chen Wei patted Jin Ke on the shoulder. I hope I will live up to Director Chen's trust. Jin Ke replied to Chen Wei, and then walked back to his room. After a while, Luo Ye came in and said that Chen Wei arranged for her to come here, and asked her to help take care of Xue'er, so that Jin Ke would not be distracted during the intense battle. When Luo Ye came in, Xue'er just woke up, and Luo Ye hurriedly made milk powder for her. Jin leaned against the head of the bed, holding his mobile phone to put himself in a state of war again. His next move will determine whether he can survive this crisis, and whether the dozen or so employees in the villa can hold on until the rescue arrives. He must concentrate and exert his strongest fighting power. Chapter 113 Action Memory. Jin checked his 3 skills again. In the last field mission, he was very efficient in grabbing heads, which upgraded all 3 skills to LV6, and there were 51 more energy points in his account. He just killed 5 Zerg-infected bodies and got 63 more energy points, bringing his energy point reserve to 114 points. According to the advice of his mentor Chen Wei, after thinking for a while, Jin Ke added 80 energy points to the upgrade of the Death Dance skill. In this way, the Death Dance skill only needs 240 energy points to upgrade to LV7. The remaining 34 energy points will be used by Jin Ke in battle. Each release of the Death Arc skill consumes 1 energy point. It takes 640 energy points to go from LV7 to LV8. There are more than 160 new students in dormitory 23. If all of them are slaughtered, have been or are being transformed into Zerg-infected bodies, leaving aside the colleagues in dormitory 02, There are nearly 150 Zerg-infected bodies in total, which can provide Jin Ke with more than 1,000 energy points for skill upgrades. Putting aside the consumption of releasing skills, it is definitely enough to upgrade the Death Dance to LV8. Now what Jin Ke has to do is to avoid fighting with the source body, try to kill more Zerg-infected bodies before encountering the source body, and upgrade the Death Dance to LV8. If the Death Dance can successfully evolve, his strength will be raised to a higher level. When facing the Zerg source body again, the chance of winning the battle and surviving will increase greatly. After taking a deep breath and feeling that he was ready, Jin controlled his character to walk out of the destroyed gate of the dormitory building and walked into the corridor outside. The wind whistles and the Xue'er river is cold, and the warriors will never return once they leave. Looking at the figure of Jin Ke leaving resolutely on the screen of his mobile phone, Zhu Shu couldn't help but recite 2 lines of poetry. No, it should be the wind whistles and the Xue'er river is cold, and the warriors will leave and the world will change. Chen Wei corrected Zhu Shu's statement, and then directed everyone to retreat to the 2nd floor, and use tables, chairs, wardrobes, etc. to block the stairs as much as possible. Whether it is useful or not, at least there is some psychological comfort. The main corridor of the number 23 dormitory area is very wide, about 10 meters, and the total length is about 100 meters. The alien worm source body adopted a tactic of splitting up and attacking. In the first round, 2 alien worm-infected bodies were sent to each dormitory building for slaughter. If there were casualties or the attack could not be taken, a second round of 6 alien worm-infected bodies would be sent to reinforce. Jin Ke looked over and saw that the doors of all 10 dormitories had been destroyed. There was no trace of blood or fighting in the corridor. It seemed that the unarmed new students in the dormitory buildings were mostly in danger, and they could not even escape from the dormitory buildings. As for the tables, chairs, cabinets and the like, Jin Ke did not think they could withstand the attacks of these Zerg-infected. I don't know if the source body sensed the failure of the massacre of Dormitory Building 02. When Jin Ke walked out of the door of Dormitory Building 02 and was looking around, 3 Zerg-infected bodies rushed out from the destroyed doors of nearby Dormitory Buildings 01, 03, and 04, screaming and rushing towards Jin Ke at the door of Dormitory Building 02. Jin Ke, who had already understood the attack and movement methods of the Zerg-infected bodies, immediately controlled the character to choose the most suitable route to rush towards the 3 Zerg-infected bodies, triggering the Zerg-infected bodies' attacks, and using their forward rush and stiffness during the attack to gain space for himself. After a dazzling operation, 3 more bodies of Zerg-infected bodies appeared on the ground, and 3 more Zerg corpses. Jin Ke's account had nearly 40 more energy points. That's all. Jin Ke let go of his phone, twisted his neck, and pinched his slightly sore fingers. The character on the phone screen was still full of health and armor. Intelligent fighters often change their attack and movement methods to prevent opponents from predicting their routes and timing of attack. But these Zerg-infected bodies obviously do not have such wisdom. They move and attack completely according to instinct. This fixed mode of movement and attack is easy to form instinctive reactions and action memory for game operation masters. In battle, fingers can even react faster than the brain. After killing 3 Zerg-infected bodies with full health and armor, Jin Ke felt relieved. It seemed that before encountering the source body, the original survival game of Dormitory Building number 23 had become a game of mowing the grass without a pair for him. These Zerg-infected bodies, which originally looked scary, have become piles of experience points and various materials in Jin Ke's eyes. After a short rest, 2 minutes later, Jin Ke found that there were no more Zerg-infected bodies behind the corridor, so he walked into the Dormitory Building 01 next to him. 2 Zerg-infected bodies just came down the stairs, and when they saw Jin Ke here, they immediately screamed and pounced on him. The first floor hall of Dormitory Building 01 suddenly became a temporary battlefield. It was too easy for Jin Ke, who was already full of blood and fighting 1 against 3, to face 2 Zerg-infected bodies. Jin Ke rushed forward, retreated, detoured, and attacked from behind calmly. With the accuracy of an electronic mechanical clock, the 2 Zerg-infected bodies that attacked Jin Ke by instinct kept screaming and waving their claws, but they could not touch the corners of Jinke's clothes at all, and could not leave even a trace of damage on Jinke's body and armor. 2 minutes later, the two Zerg-infected bodies fell to the ground as expected, and the Zerg that crawled out of the corpses were also killed on the spot. After killing the two Zerg-infected bodies, Jinke walked towards the stairs of Dormitory Building 01. There were many pieces of furniture on the stairs of Dormitory Building 01, such as broken legs of tables and chairs, broken wooden boards, etc. It seemed that the new students inside should have built a line of defense here. Unfortunately, the materials of these furniture were like tofu dregs in front of the extremely sharp claws of the Zerg-infected bodies with energy attacks. They were completely vulnerable and could not bring them any safety and protection. After going to the second floor to check, as Jinke expected, the second floor dormitory of Dormitory Building 01 was already full of corpses. Especially the two innermost dormitories were full of corpses. The characters of these players obviously experienced an extremely painful and terrifying scene before they died, which can be seen from the expressions on the faces of these characters before they died. They have not been injected and parasitized by the Zerg source bodies that are busy in other buildings. At present, they are just corpses. Normally, Jinke should have thought of a way to burn these bodies to save himself some trouble, but he didn't do that. Chapter 114, Keep Your Distance. Thanks to Mr. Qin from Tsinghua University for the 100,000 starting coins. Thanks to Long Zishan Group for the 50,000 starting coins. Thanks to Long Zishan Group, the General Alliance of Official Virtue, for giving this book the third leader. Because, after being injected and parasitized in the future, they are all energy points that can be obtained, which are very important experience points for upgrading skills. So, Jinke left these corpses and left. After confirming that his colleagues in the nearby Dormitory Building 02 were not attacked by the alien worm-infected bodies, he killed his way into the Dormitory Building 03. Killing all the way, there were only 2 to 5 alien worm-infected bodies in the Dormitory Buildings 04 and 05. And then there were a large number of new students who had not been injected or parasitized. After cleaning up the Dormitory Building 05, Jinke's death dance was only 20 energy points away from upgrading to LV7. In the lobby on the first floor of the Dormitory Building 06, there were more than 20 alien worm-infected bodies. Jinke took a look at the Dormitory Building 06 and immediately dodged away. Several Zerg-infected bodies near the door saw Jinke at the door and immediately rushed over with a hiss, but after chasing him to the door, they did not rush out of the corridor and retreated back. The Zerg source body should be in the Dormitory Building 06. This thing has a certain degree of intelligence, but it is very afraid of death. These more than 20 Zerg-infected bodies are guards under its control and command to protect it from being disturbed when it is breeding. Jinke speculated, there should be more than 20 Zerg-infected bodies in the Dormitory Building 06. I think there should be many guards around the Zerg source body. It seems that this Zerg source body is temporarily unwilling to fight Jinke head-on before injecting all the corpses. Jinke also had this intention. After passing the gate of the Dormitory Building 06, Jinke went straight to the innermost Dormitory Building 10 and Dormitory Building 09. Dormitory Building 10 and Dormitory Building 09 were empty, not even corpses, but there were a lot of blood stains on the floor and walls of the second floor dormitory, telling people who saw the tragic scenes that had happened here. It finally felt like a horror game. It seemed that all the corpses in Dormitory Building 10 and Dormitory Building 09 had turned into Zerg-infected bodies, and they were probably guarding the Zerg source bodies. Of course, some of the Zerg-infected bodies that had fought with Jinke before might have come from Building 10 and Building 09. When they were alive, they were living people, living players. After they died, they had no characteristics of their own, and all turned into Zerg-infected bodies that provided energy points and materials to other players. How would they die in reality? More than 100 people lost their lives in a strange way because of playing games in one day. Would it trigger a large-scale investigation in the real world? Forget it. Why think so much? The most important thing is to survive and become strong. Jinke came to the 08 dormitory building. As soon as he entered, he encountered 2 Zerg-infected bodies wandering in the hall. It seemed that they had just transformed from corpses to Zerg-infected bodies. The Zerg in their bodies had not yet fully adapted to their new bodies, and their steps were still a little staggering, but after seeing Jin Ke, the two Zerg-infected bodies still instinctively rushed towards Jin Ke, screaming. More than a minute later, there were two more infected bodies and Zerg bodies on the ground. At the same time, Jin Ke's account had more than 20 energy points. The Death Dance skill was officially upgraded to LV7. If it is upgraded to LV8, there is a certain chance that the skill will evolve, greatly improving Jin Ke's strength. Jin Ke put away his weapon and walked towards the stairs of the 08 dormitory building. Going up to the second-floor dormitory area, some corpses in some dormitories had just mutated and were staggering to their feet. When they saw Jin Ke, they immediately staggered and rushed over. After fighting the mature Zerg-infected bodies, fighting these newly born Zerg-infected bodies was like the game going from expert mode to rookie mode. However, the energy points provided by their killing were not less, and Jin Ke harvested the energy points without any difficulty. After harvesting the newly born Zerg-infected bodies in Dormitory 08, Jin Ke returned to the lobby on the first floor of Dormitory 08, stood by the door and looked outside. He happened to see the Zerg source body surrounded by more than 30 Zerg-infected bodies, walking proudly from Dormitory 06 to Dormitory 05. After the Zerg source body glanced at Jin Ke, it ignored Jin Ke and restrained the infected bodyguards around it to go directly into Dormitory 05 to continue its breeding business. Why does it look familiar? It seems to be familiar with me. Do I know this Zerg source body? Did we have a bad relationship? Jin Ke frowned slightly. Does this thing really have intelligence? It should be able to sense my existence through these infected bodies, right? Why doesn't it come and hunt me? Jin Ke was a little puzzled. Of course, Jin Ke didn't know that every time this alien insect source body injected a corpse, its strength would increase to a certain extent, allowing it to gradually recover from its deformed state of forcing growth to the normal state of the alien insect source body. In its insect brain, which had a certain degree of intelligence, it was a little afraid of Jin Ke for unknown reasons, thinking that Jin Ke was a boss-level figure, so it had to work hard to improve its own strength first, and then lead the army to fight a decisive battle with Jin Ke. And Jin Ke also believed that he was no match for the mixed army of alien insect source bodies and more than 30 alien insect-infected bodies, and he was also quietly accumulating strength. Since the two sides coincided, let's keep out of each other's way for the time being and wait for the final decisive battle. The Zerg source led more than 20 guards to inject corpses one dormitory after another, and Jin Ke followed behind it to harvest energy points one dormitory after another. Because of Jin Ke's harvesting, the number of Zerg troops did not continue to grow, but the source gradually strengthened its strength due to continuous injection and reproduction, and gradually recovered from the deformed state of forcing growth to the normal state of the Zerg source. Its body became more and more dark and shiny, and the bones protruding from the body gradually closed on the surface of the body to form a complete shell. In particular, one of its claws seemed to be completely metallized under the casting of some kind of energy, emitting a dark blue luster. After the Zerg source injected another corpse, its body suddenly curled up, and a thick black fog lingered around it. A few minutes later, accompanied by a burst of sound, the Zerg source stood up from the ground again. Its body was obviously taller than before, and its exoskeleton was completely closed. Its face became more hideous and closer to the shape of a worm. The Zerg looked at the wall in front of it and screamed. Suddenly, its body flashed red, and its metal claws also drew a red arc of light, and suddenly slashed the wall in front of it. If there are players present, they will see the words "blood slash" appear above the head of the Zerg on the mobile phone screen. With a loud clang, a huge crack was cut in the wall in front of the Zerg. And then, the wall could not withstand the energy impact of the Zerg's slash and completely collapsed. Bang! The Zerg jumped directly from the broken part of the collapsed wall, and its feet landed on the concrete floor and smashed two pits. Swish! The Zerg pointed its blue metal claws to the sky, and its insect mouth screamed loudly, even uttering simple syllables. Its originally chaotic eyes also became a little clear. The magic skill has been completed. It's time to fight to the death with the human who made it inexplicably afraid. Chapter 115 Based on Strength. Hiss. Nearly 40 Zerg-infected bodies around the Zerg source body also responded to their leader with their mouths facing the sky. Although they had no expression, It can be seen that they were all extremely excited at this time. When the Zerg source body entered the dormitory 014 injection, Jin completed the harvest of the new infected bodies in the dormitory 04. When the black mist escaping from the last group of insect corpses was completely absorbed by the body of Jin's character, Jin in front of the mobile phone screen took a deep breath and felt very refreshed. Finally, enough energy points for upgrading. A total of more than 60 new Zerg infected bodies in the 4 dormitory buildings 07, 06, 05, and 04 provided Jin with nearly 800 energy points. After injecting the dozen energy points just obtained into the skill Death Dance, the familiar blue text prompt upgrade screen of the Death Dance skill appeared, and it was upgraded from LV7 to LV8. However, the screen of the skill upgrade this time is a little different from the previous ones. In the previous upgrade screens, the blue upgrade text prompt disappeared after appearing for a few seconds. This time, it did not disappear, but kept flashing. Will it evolve? Jin looked at the screen of his mobile phone nervously. According to his mentor Chenwei, after the skill is upgraded to LV8, it will not evolve 100%, but there's a certain probability of evolution. This flashing is the system calculating the probability, right? If this skill does not evolve at LV8, it will have to wait until LV16 or even LV32 to have another chance to evolve. The energy points required to upgrade skills increase exponentially. Jin feels that for him at this stage, there is no need to upgrade after LV9 and LV10. The cost of upgrading further is simply astronomical. LV16, LV32? I dare not think about it. I don't know how lucky I am this time. Can I make the Death Dance skill evolve at LV8? If the Death Dance cannot evolve, with his current strength, it may be very troublesome to deal with the alien insect source and the dozens of guards around it. No matter how godlike the operation is, it must be based on strength. 10 seconds later, the blue upgrade text prompt disappeared. That's it. Jin couldn't help but feel disappointed. If Death Dance didn't evolve when it reached LV8, he might as well use these energy points to upgrade Death Arc or Kiss of Death. After upgrading those two skills, the damage would be directly increased, and the improvement of strength would be more practical for him now than upgrading Death Dance. Just when Jin put away his disappointment and prepared to leave Dormitory Building 04 and go to Dormitory Building 03 to harvest, the Silver Words skill evolution suddenly popped up on the phone screen. At the same time, an arrow appeared next to the original Death Dance skill icon, pointing to a new evolved skill icon. The icon of this new skill is different from the original skill, and there is a light silver border around the icon. The name of the new skill is Death Charge. LV8 Death Dance evolved into LV8 Death Charge. Although the Death Dance has evolved into the Death Charge, Jin has found through research that the Death Charge skill can still be manually switched back to the original Death Dance, but the two will share the same cooldown time. Sharing the cooldown time means that after releasing the Death Charge skill, even if you switch back to the Death Dance skill icon, you must wait until the Death Charge cooldown is over before you can use the Death Dance skill, and vice versa. The evolved skills are indeed very different, and there are a lot of description texts. Death Charge. The body will be temporarily energized and will instantly charge towards the target by 14 meters. At the end of the charge, the body will automatically face the target. Non-energy restricted obstacles can be passed through the energized period. The damage of attacks launched within 1 second after the death charge is over will be increased by 100%. The armor energy field will disappear within 10 seconds after the death charge is over. After the death charge is launched, the target at the endpoint will be marked. After the mark, the probability of the energy node behind the target's body appearing will increase by 100%. If the target's body energy node is successfully hit to form a super energy critical hit, all skill cooldowns will be reset to 0. For every level of death charge, the maximum distance of the charge will increase by half a meter. Cooldown time, 100 seconds. Energy consumption, 2 points. Health consumption, 10% each time. No consumption if health is below 20%. Damn, what a powerful skill. After checking the skill description of Death Charge, Jin couldn't help but feel ecstatic. In the past, After releasing the death dance, you can quickly go behind the target, but this speed is still going around, not crossing, so it still takes a certain amount of time, and the maximum distance is only between 1.52 meters. The death rush is an instantaneous rush of 1.4 meters. When releasing the skill, the actual distance of the rush is controlled by pulling the skill icon with your finger. The maximum distance is much farther than the distance of the death dance. In addition, instant crossing also saves time compared to detouring. When the skill is launched on the target has no time to react. The damage of the attack launched within 1 second after the death rush is increased by 100%, which is much higher than the 50% increase of the previous death dance. Previously, when Jin Ke used the white weapon Alien Claw to attack, the death dance superimposed death arc and then kiss of death could form a damage output of about 73 points. But now the death rush superimposed death arc and then kiss of death can form a damage output of up to about 97 points. But this is not the most terrifying thing. The most terrifying thing is that the attack launched within 1 second after the end of the death charge will mark the target, and the probability of the energy node behind the target's body appearing after the mark increases by 100%. What does this mean? This means that as long as Jin Ke's attack after the death charge can accurately hit the energy node, the damage output of the death charge superimposed on the death arc and then superimposed on the kiss of death will no longer be around 97 points, but around 195 points. However, the damage output of around 195 points is not the most amazing part of this skill. The most amazing part of this skill is that if the target's body energy node is successfully hit within 1 second after the death charge ends to form a super energy critical hit, all his skill cooldowns will be reset to 0. A picture of unparalleled mowing has appeared in front of Jin Ke. As long as he can accurately hit the energy node every time, he can form an infinite combo in a one-on-many situation, unless he is hit by the opponent's skills or interrupted by control skills. He will continue to combo. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 116, A Fierce Battle. Thanks to Professor Qin from Tsinghua University for giving me 100,000 starting coins. The evolved skills have good and bad aspects. Compared with the pre-evolved Death Dance, Death Charge has 3 disadvantages. The first disadvantage is that the cooling time has reached 100 seconds, which is 10 times that of Death Dance. Once Jin Ke makes a mistake during a combo and fails to hit an energy node, or is interrupted by the opponent's attack skills or controlled by control skills, he will have to wait 100 seconds before he can use Death Charge or Death Dance again. This means that during this 100 seconds, he completely loses his displacement skills and the mobility that is most indispensable for the assassin profession. In actual combat, the battle is over long ago in 100 seconds. The second disadvantage is that the armor energy field disappears within 10 seconds after the end of Death Charge, which means that Jin Ke's body has no protection during this 10 seconds. Once attacked, the body of the character will bear the full amount of damage. The third disadvantage is that the consumption of Death Charge is relatively large. The energy point consumption is twice that of Death Dance, but this is nothing. But another consumption is more fatal. As long as the health value is above 20%, each user will consume 10% of the health value. Until the health value is below 20%, then there is no consumption. When the health value is below 20%, there is also a dangerous situation where the armor energy field disappears for 10 seconds. At that time, the opponent's casual attack will kill Jin Ke as long as it hits. This is a skill that is completely a gamble. If the operation is good, every time at the end of the charge, you can avoid the opponent's skills, and the opponent happens to have no locking control skills, and the energy point reserves are relatively sufficient. Jin Ke 1v10, 1v20, or even more are possible. But even in this case, as long as he makes a mistake in the operation, he will fall into an irreversible situation and be killed by the opponent in one move. If facing multiple players, It is better not to risk using this skill unless you are forced into a desperate situation. If you are hit by the opponent's control skills and the death charge attack fails, you will face a skill cooldown of up to 100 seconds, and you will have no armor protection and low health within 10 seconds after using the skill, which will make Jin Ke die miserably. I don't know if the Zerg source body has the kind of control skills that cannot be avoided. From the current situation, at least the Zerg infected body does not have it. If the Zerg source body does not have control skills, today if you want to kill this Zerg source body and its dozens of followers, your hope will fall on this evolved death charge skill. To be safe, Jin Ke asked Luo Ye to call his mentor Chen Wei in and consult him about whether the Zerg source body has control skills. Let me ask. Chen Wei did not answer Jin Ke's question immediately. Chen Wei came back 2 minutes later. According to the information I have learned, the alien insect source body of the third worm that appeared this time should only have physical attack methods, with high output, single damage between 100 and 300 points, and no control skills. However, there is also an expert who said that after the source body of this alien insect parasitizes a living body, it may have some of the host's skills. If the host had control skills before death, and it is a living body that is parasitized, the source body may have some of the host's skills. Chen Wei told Jin Ke the information he learned truthfully, and he would not specify the source of the information. After expressing his gratitude to Chen Wei, Jin Ke was fully focused on the game again. When Jin Ke walked out of the gate of dormitory building 04, the alien insect source body also led nearly 40 alien insect infected bodies and walked out of the gate of dormitory building 01. The alien insect source body has already achieved great success, so this time, it is not going to let Jin Ke go. Jin Ke also wanted to try the new skill of Death Charge evolved from Death Dance. The two sides once again had a tacit understanding and coincided with each other, so they stared at each other affectionately from a distance of more than 10 meters. This alien insect source body was a circle larger than before, with a more ferocious image, and surrounded by black fog. Its strength seemed to be different from the previous time. At a certain moment, Jin Ke suddenly saw that an alien insect-infected bodyguard beside the alien insect source body also looked familiar. This alien insect-infected bodyguard looked a little more handsome than other alien insect-infected bodies. By the way, why does it look a bit like Wu Chuan? Could it be that this alien insect-infected body is Wu Chuan, and the alien insect source body was transformed by Xiaobo? That's them. No wonder the alien insect source body looked familiar when I saw it before. Xiaobo. Jin Ke remembered that Xiaobo had not awakened any control skills the last time they fought. Moreover, Xiaobo and Jin Ke were both assassins. Most of the skills awakened by assassins were related to attack, and control skills were very rare. If this alien insect source body was indeed related to the host as mentor Chen Wei said, then the possibility of it having control skills was very low. In this situation, the enemy was numerous and we were few, and the strength of both sides was quite different. Without using the death charge skill, Jin Ke felt that he would definitely die. Only by taking the risk of using death charge would there be a glimmer of hope for survival. So, he had no choice at all. A fierce battle was about to begin. More than half an hour ago, in a villa room, Xiaobo's phone was restored to factory settings, and the game was reinstalled after double clearing. Wu Chuan quickly opened the game client and wanted to log into the game with a different QQ number. The login screen was blood red, with the 4 big words "You are dead" written on it, and there was no entrance to register a new user. What's going on? Wu Chuan was stunned. I have cleared my phone and there is no illegal login prompt. Could it be the fingerprint? Xiaobo analyzed it. Then how can I register a new account? Wu Chuan glared at Xiaobo angrily again. Unless you change your fingerprint. Xiaobo thought of an idea. Fuck, do you think this is possible? Wu Chuan was furious when he heard what Xiaobo said. Try to clear your phone and let me see what's happening with my character. Xiaobo reached out to grab his phone back, forcibly quit the game and logged into the game again, but was prompted with an illegal login. Damn, this reinstalled game is bound to your fingerprint. This login setting is very annoying. Do I have to restore the factory settings and clear the game again to reinstall it? Albo stared at the phone screen in frustration. Albo's character is in danger in the game because he cannot operate it. Wu Chuan just spent dozens of minutes on the login test. Albo doesn't know what happened to his character during these dozens of minutes, and whether he encountered any danger. Chapter 117. Are you happy? Are you convinced? After Albo's phone was used by Wu Chuan, he had to do the same as Wu Chuan before, first clearing his phone, and then he had to open the game client to log into his character. Wu Chuan, who was standing next to him, took his own phone and went to the table, opened his laptop, and prepared to back up the phone information and then restore the phone to factory settings and clear the phone, and then try to install the game. In this situation, he could only try his best. Albo took this opportunity to restore his phone to factory settings and clear the phone. After more than half an hour, Albo reinstalled and logged into the game. This time the system did not detect any illegal logins, and Albo entered the normal login interface. After logging into the game, Albo saw a very strange picture. His character was now standing in a wide corridor, the corridor of dormitory area number 23. At this time, his character was a circle larger than the original character, and his body was shrouded in a mysterious black fog. Occasionally, there would be flashes of lightning in the black fog, which made his character look like a demon that had drilled out of the ground, extremely hideous. A group of about 30 Zerg-infected bodies either swarmed around his character or scattered around to be on alert, like stars surrounding the moon. 666. So cool. This appearance is so cool, Albo exclaimed loudly. It was obvious that his aesthetics were somewhat different from those of normal people. After logging in, Albo kept pressing everywhere on the screen of his mobile phone, trying to regain control of the character. He tried for a long time but failed, but accidentally opened the character's attribute interface. Can I check the attributes? This means I'm about to take back control of this character? Albo couldn't help but feel overjoyed. Let's take a look at the current attributes of the character first. Name, Albo, ? Occupation, Zerg source, assassin, ? The normal average value of all the following attributes is 10 points. Strength, 153.31. Your strength is unmatched. Endurance, 129.69. Your endurance has long exceeded the limit of human beings. Constitution, 263.94. You are just an indestructible cockroach. Intelligence, 1.91. Even a husky is smarter than you. Speed, 17.46. The world record of 100 meters is nothing in front of you. Agility, 21.98. No one can see your movements clearly. Precision, 15.44. Your attacks can basically hit the target. Charisma, -5146.35. You are so ugly that I want to cry. Willpower, 6.32. You are a person with weak willpower. Sensing, 5.65. Your sixth sense is just a decoration. Total score, -4534.65. The normal average value is 100. Comprehensive assessment. You are not human. Suggestion. Put down everything you are doing and do the cleaning work. Awesome. It's really awesome. With 153.31 points of strength, normal attacks can do more than 100 points of damage. Critical damage can reach 300. Constitution 263.94 points, which means the health value has reached 2,639 points. High-intensity combat consumes 2 points of endurance per minute. 129.69 is simply a perpetual motion machine. In addition, endurance can increase the protection value. The basic protection value of endurance of 10 points and below is 1, and the protection value of 20 points is increased to 2, 40 points is 3, and 80 points is 4. 129.69 points of endurance is equivalent to 4.5 times the protection value, and each attack reduces the damage by 4.5 times. 2,639 points of health, 4.5 times the protection, equivalent to a health value of nearly 12,000 points. The Jin bitch only has 5 or 10 attack points per attack. If I park with her again, I can't kill her even if I stand there for a whole day. I must find a chance to park with that bitch again and get back at her. It's okay if her intelligence is a little low, but such a high attack can kill everything in 1 second. Her speed, agility, and accuracy are far beyond those of ordinary new students. Can intelligence, charm, and so on be used as a meal? I'm a real talent. I don't want to be a fresh meat. With such a character, even if I can't operate it, I'm an existence that despises everything. Xiaobo is very satisfied with his current character. After checking the current attributes of the character, Xiaobo quickly noticed the target his character was looking at this time. The player standing a few dozen meters away. It turned out to be his mortal enemy, Jin Ke. Damn. Whatever you think will come true. Someone will send you a pillow when you doze off. I was just thinking about finding an opportunity to park with the bitch again, but the bitch delivered herself to the door. Today I can finally hold my head high and have a good time. At this time, Jin Ke's character was wearing a very low-level leather armor, standing far away at the door of dormitory building 04 and looking over here. Xiaobo's character, the alien worm source, also stood there motionless, looking at Jin Ke. Idiot, don't stand there, rush over and kill him. Xiaobo pressed the screen of his mobile phone frantically and cursed at his character. After cursing, Xiaobo suddenly felt something was wrong. It seemed like he was cursing himself, just as Xiaobo was cursing himself for being an idiot. Xiaobo's character in the game moved. Swish. The alien worm source worm mouth raised its mouth to the sky and made a strange cry that humans could not understand, but all the alien worm-infected bodies understood it. These alien worm-infected bodies were divided into groups of 3, and there were more than 10 groups in total. They were about 3 or 4 meters apart from each other, and they lined up in formation and rushed towards Jin Ke. The Zerg source had 4 teams around him to provide personal protection, and they also approached Jin Ke step by step. Ha 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 ha. Isn't the little bitch very cool? Is full manual operation awesome? Let's see how cool you are today. Let's see how Grandpa's full automatic operation will torture you into slag. Xiaobo, who was in front of the mobile phone screen, completely forgot that his character was parasitized, but was full of joy and expectation to watch Jin Ke die tragically under the claws of the Zerg source. After becoming this thing that was neither human nor insect, Xiaobo wanted to control such a powerful self to kill Jin Ke, but this thing was completely out of his control, which made Xiaobo very disappointed. He didn't expect to see such a pleasing scene as soon as he logged into the game just now. Little bitch surnamed Jin, you have come to this day too. Are you satisfied? Are you convinced? Xiaobo continued to be excited and excited. His character was so powerful now that it was too easy to torture Jin Ke. What's wrong? So excited? Wu Chuan, who was busy, heard that what Xiaobo said was a little strange, so he came to Xiaobo's mobile phone screen. Next, you will see a very cool scene. Retribution, a slap in the face. It feels so good. This kid used to be so arrogant in front of us. I didn't expect that he would have such a day. He is about to kneel down and sing conquer to me, Xiaobo said to Wu Chuan arrogantly, pointing at the screen of his mobile phone. Nothing would make him happier than seeing Jin Ke being slaughtered in front of him. Chapter 118 Street Goods. Thanks to Mr. Qin from Tsinghua University for giving me 130,000 Kidian coins. Mr. Qin from Tsinghua University has given me more than 1 million Kidian coins for this book. I am so grateful. Although it is just a game, Xiaobo's hatred for Jin Ke is no different from the hatred in the real world. If he didn't want to get revenge, he wouldn't go to the equipment department to destroy and steal things, and his character wouldn't become what it is now. Xiaobo also saw the death of his younger brother Wu Chuan's character as being caused by Jin Ke. Hurry up and beat him. This way I will feel more balanced. Wu Chuan pushed Xiaobo. I can't operate it now, but don't worry, he can't escape today, even if he goes to heaven or hell, and even the gods can't save him. Ha 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 ha. Xiaobo laughed triumphantly. Just as Xiaobo was laughing triumphantly, Jin Ke, who had been standing motionless on his mobile phone screen, moved. He showed his weapon. A claw that seemed to be an infected alien insect. Ha 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 ha. The little bitch is really talented. She actually picked up a claw as a weapon. How dare such a low-quality thing compare with my boss-level claw? Xiaobo continued to laugh. Compared with the blue glowing metal claw of the Zerg source, The claw in Jinke's hand looked like a street stall item. "Tear him up quickly. Let's have a good time," Wu Chuan urged from the side. "Don't worry. We will tear him up. Now we have to tear him up slowly and have a good time slowly." Bo looked very proud. It was useless for him to be anxious now. He could only wait for the Zerg source to go and kill Jink on its own. But the Zerg source seemed very cautious for some reason and followed at the end of the team. The 3 Zerg-infected bodies at the front of the team had already come to a few meters in front of Jink. They roared and pounced on Jink in 3 directions. "Kill him, little bitch. See where you can escape." Bo's eyes became extremely fanatical. What he hated most at this moment was that he couldn't operate it himself to abuse Jink. All he could do now was to press icons on the screen of his mobile phone and pretend that he was operating it himself. Just as the 3 Zerg-infected bodies pounced on Jink, Jink's body suddenly turned into a light and shadow, passing through the bodies of the 3 Zerg-infected bodies and appeared behind one of them. After the Death Rush skill was marked, an energy node appeared behind the Zerg-infected body. 1 hit, super critical hit. A -193 damage value appeared on the head of the Zerg-infected body, almost draining its health. Damn, it's too buggy, right? How can a 5-level scum deal such high damage? Bo, who was in front of the mobile phone screen, was stunned when he saw the damage value. It's absolutely a bug. He changed his job later than us. How could his damage output be so high? Wu Chuan was also stunned. HMPH. Is this damage high? No matter how high it is, can it be as high as my damage? Can it kill one of my men in 1 second? His skills have a cooldown, right? Look at how he was torn to pieces by the siege after his displacement and attack skills cooled down. Bo came back to his senses and couldn't help but sneer at Jink, who was already trapped in the insect siege. The next moment, Bo couldn't laugh anymore. The target marked at the end of the release of the Death Rush skill will have an energy node behind it 100%. Once the energy node is hit, the cooldown of all skills will be reset. Jink's body turned into a beam of light again, and like a sharp arrow, he passed through the back of one of the other 3 Zerg-infected bodies that pounced on him. Another super-powered critical hit, *197 damage value appeared on the head of the Zerg-infected body. Fuck, where is the cooldown of the skill? How can he move continuously? How can a 5-level scumbag deal nearly 200 points of damage continuously? It's too fucking buggy, isn't it? After seeing this scene, Bo was so angry that he wanted to smash his phone to the ground. This guy is definitely cheating. No matter how good a newcomer is, it's impossible for him to have such a high output. Such a short cooldown time for the skill is incredible. Wu Chuan beside Bo also kept shaking his head. Jink's previous displacements were separated by 1 or 2 seconds, mainly to familiarize himself with the operation. After getting familiar with this operation, Jink's movements became faster and faster, and the whole person completely turned into a light and shadow, a death light and shadow, like a sharp blade inserted into the team of alien worm-infected bodies, leaving nearly 200 points of damage wherever he passed. However, because his speed was too fast, all the alien worm-infected bodies could not react in time, and their expressions were a little dazed. They stretched out their claws and didn't know where to attack. This death light and shadow was like a blade in a meat grinder, shuttling back and forth in the group of alien worm-infected bodies, and after a while, most of the alien worm-infected bodies were hit by Jink's super-powered critical hit on the back, and their health points were less than 20%. Finally, the light and shadow killed the alien worm source body a few meters away. The light and shadow finally stopped, revealing Jink's body. The Zerg-infected bodies within a few meters around him had all turned into corpses under his back and forth cutting. Kill him, why are you still standing there? Bo yelled at the screen of his mobile phone. Swish. The Zerg source body let out a strange cry, and it stretched out its blue glowing claws. The black mist lingering around its body surged up, and instantly condensed into a several-meter-long blade in the air, ready to chop down Jink's head. At the same time, the words blood slash appeared above the Zerg source body's head. The other Zerg-infected bodies also reacted and surrounded Jink, who had revealed his body. Look, blood slash. It's my skill. So cool, so cool. This is the feeling. Kill him, Kill the little bitch. One fatal blow. One claw to seal the throat. Xiaobo, who was standing in front of the mobile phone screen, saw the graceful pose of the alien insect source when it released the skill, and couldn't help but praise it repeatedly. Then he was looking forward to seeing the hardy scene when Jin Ke was split in half by this blood slash. Jin Ke paused for a moment just now, waiting for this moment. Since the alien insect source used the blood slash skill, it means that it is indeed parasitic in Xiaobo's body and has inherited the skills of the host Xiaobo, which also means that it is very unlikely to have control skills. Even if it has other control skills, it will not be able to release control skills again after releasing the blood slash skill at this time. When the Zerg body launched the blood slash skill attack, Jin Ke rushed behind it with a death charge. This operation requires a very high reaction speed. If it was 0.1 second later, the blood slash attack of the Zerg body would have likely fallen on Jin Ke. After the Zerg body was marked, energy nodes also appeared behind it. But the time for this energy node to appear was much shorter than that of the Zerg infected body. Fortunately, after so many trainings and facing the energy nodes behind the Zerg infected body, Jin Ke, who was fully focused on the battle at this moment, still reacted very sharply and stabbed the energy node with one claw. Super energy critical hit. You caused 42 damage to the target. All skill cooldowns are reset. Chapter 119. Kneel down and sing conquer. Almost at the same time when Jin Ke launched the super critical strike, the blood slash of the Zerg source also slashed down to the place where Jin Ke had stood before. Unfortunately, Jin Ke was no longer there. The blood slash skill used by the Zerg source was obviously much more powerful than the blood slash skill used by Xiaobo, and Zerg infected body that had just rushed over to try to kill Jin Ke was hit head-on by this blood slash. A damage value of more than 400 points appeared above its head, and then its body was directly split in half from the middle. The Zerg parasitic in this body was not spared. Without even a scream, it was directly chopped off a third of its head by this blood slash and died on the spot. Damn it, he ran away. But it doesn't matter. This little bitch only has 40 points of attack per time, and I have more than 2,000 health points. It's like tickling. Xiaobo comforted himself. What's the use of more than 2,000? He only needs more than 40 points, so it can be done in more than 60 points? Wu Chuan felt that Xiaobo's situation was not good. What nonsense is that? If he has the ability to not let me touch him, as long as he touches me, I will immediately send him to see his ancestors. Xiaobo was extremely stubborn. Did you touch him during the last park? He chopped you to death little by 5 points, 10 points, and you didn't even touch a hair of him until you died. Wu Chuan shook his head. How can this be the same? I didn't know how to operate manually at that time. Don't you see how awesome I am now? Xiaobo continued to be stubborn. How are you awesome? You operated manually this time? Wu Chuan was a little surprised. Do you know what the highest realm of swordsmanship is? It is the unity of man and sword, without a sword in hand and without a sword in the heart. Do you know what the highest realm of operation is? It is no operation at all. Xiaobo argued. You can do it. You are awesome. You can talk about it after you can beat him. Wu Chuan complained in a low voice. The Zerg source body really didn't need Xiaobo to operate it. It reacted very quickly. After being hit by a super-powered critical strike from behind by Jin Ke, it immediately turned around and used its claws to draw a dark blue light in the air and slashed at Jin Ke's body. But this attack missed again. When its claws really slashed over, Jin Ke had already appeared more than 10 meters away with several consecutive death raids, leaving only a few nearly 200 damage points along the way, floating quietly above the head of the Zerg infected body. The Zerg source body was furious and chased after the light and shadow of Jin Ke's incarnation. Unfortunately, as soon as it approached, it saw a light and shadow passing through its body. Before it could turn around, another 40-point damage floated above its head. When the Zerg source body turned around, Jin Ke had already appeared behind the parasitic Wu Chuan infected body a few meters away, and another super-powered critical strike drained most of the infected body Wu Chuan's blood. The blood slash skill of the Zerg source was on cooldown, and it immediately launched a powerful blood slash towards the place where Jin Ke had just appeared. Unfortunately, when the blow was struck, Jin Ke was no longer there, but appeared behind another Zerg infected body more than 10 meters away. Jin Ke ran away, But Wu Chuan's infected body was not so lucky. His body was directly cut into 2 pieces by the Zerg source and fell to the ground, his limbs twitching, and his death was extremely miserable. And Zerg crawled out of Wu Chuan's split body and chased after the light and shadow of Jin Ke's incarnation. But when it was about to rush to Jin Ke's side, it was pierced through the head by Jin Ke's casual blow and died on the spot. "Damn it, you killed me again." Wu Chuan saw his body being cut into 2 pieces by Zhao Bo's blood/skill, and he couldn't help but get angry again. "You are suffering if you live like that. I am helping you get rid of it," Zhao Bo argued. "Whether I want to be freed or not is none of your business. Hit that little bitch if you can. She's always so accurate in killing me. Do you have a grudge against me, or are you doing it on purpose?" Wu Chuan was so angry that he had no place to vent. "Nonsense. How could I do it on purpose? Look at the screen. See how I torture that little bitch to death." Zhao Bo quickly changed the subject. After arguing with Wu Chuan for a few words, Zhao Bo couldn't help but frown when he looked back at the screen of his mobile phone. At this time, nearly 40 guards around the Zerg source. Half of them had fallen to the ground. There were corpses on the ground, including those of the infected and those of the Zerg. However, Jin Ke was still standing. At this time, Jin Ke was standing more than 10 meters away from the Zerg army. He must have consumed his stamina in the battle, and was standing there quietly to recover. The Zerg source here did not take advantage of the situation to pursue, and even restrained its subordinates, the Zerg infected bodies, to guard around and did not let them go to pursue. Although it kept roaring and raging, it seemed to be scared by Jin Ke. "Fuck you. His endurance is far inferior to yours. Keep fighting. Chase him and chop him. He has no endurance and is still jumping around. Don't stand there stupidly." Seeing the Zerg source standing there and letting Jin Ke recover, Zhao Bo was so angry that he started to curse again. Jin Ke's death charge does not consume much endurance of the character. The wave of show just now only consumed 2 points of endurance. He quit the battle to rest mainly because he needed mental relaxation in the real world. You must know that this kind of operation show requires high concentration of energy, and mental fatigue is much more likely to cause players to make mistakes in operation than physical fatigue. Maybe it heard Zhao Bo scolding, but after a few hours, the Zerg source led a group of Zerg infected bodies to attack Jin Ke again. Jin Ke took a short rest and recovered mentally. His character's body in the game turned into a light again, and shuttled between the Zerg infected bodies like a sharp arrow. Because he had already harvested a round of Zerg infected bodies before, every time he rushed behind a Zerg infected body, a corpse fell. The Zerg crawling out of the corpses could not get close to his body, and they were all killed one by one. In just a few minutes, only Jin Ke and the Zerg source were left standing at the scene. Jin Ke was not touched at all, and the Zerg source was cut off about 10% of its health. Hiss! The Zerg source swung its claws and slashed. Swoosh! Jin Ke disappeared on the spot, and a super-powered critical strike was made from behind. Hiss! The Zerg source swung its claws and slashed again. Swoosh! Jin Ke disappeared from the spot again, and it was another super-powerful critical strike from behind. After more than a dozen rounds, the alien insect source body had lost 1/3 of its health, but it still didn't even touch a hair of Jin Ke. Swoosh! The alien insect source body retreated a few steps, looking at Jin Ke a few meters away. The fear in its eyes became stronger. When Jin Ke raised his claws again and pretended to attack, the alien insect source body suddenly felt weak in the knees, and knelt down to Jin Ke with a plop. Fuck, what does this mean? Is it charging up a big move? Zhao Bo looked at the screen of his mobile phone in a daze. Kneel down to sing conquer, but it's a pity that it's not the little bitch who kneels down, but you. Wu Chuan helped Zhao Bo explain a few words. This scene is so embarrassing and embarrassing. After seeing it, Wu Chuan's face was a little hot. Chapter 120, Soul Division and Puppet Building. Thanks to the Longzation Group for rewarding 50,000 starting coins. What an idiot. More than 2,000 horsepower. More than 100 basic damage. Can't you handle this little bitch? What's the point of kneeling? Is that all you can do? If you can't beat me, give me back the control. See how I kill this little bitch. Zhao Bo pressed the buttons on the phone screen frantically, cursing. Too embarrassing. Too humiliating. No wonder this guy has such a low IQ. He's really not as good as Ra. He actually kneeled down to his opponent in front of his younger brother. Even if Luo was tough now, he didn't know how to defend himself. The highest level of operation is no operation at all. Just kneel down. Wu Chuan continued to gloat at the side, and then hummed the song Conquer. Jin Ke on the phone screen looked at the kneeling alien insect source here, and was very cautious not to approach. The Zerg source was certainly not kneeling down to beg for mercy. It was indeed accumulating a big move. After half a minute of accumulation, it was preparing to release a powerful skill called soul splitting and puppet building. The preparation time was about half a minute. After releasing this skill, the Zerg source could summon a soul puppet of pure energy to be by its side. The soul puppet would last for 5 minutes, during which time it could launch extremely high damage electric spell attacks. This electric spell attack was locked, and it would hit the target as long as it was launched. This was the most powerful life-saving skill of the Zerg source. It was basically released when the HP dropped by about 1/3. Once it successfully summoned the soul puppet, Jin Ke, who had little HP and no magic defense equipment, would surely die. The information that Mentor Chen Wei had previously inquired from the experts was obviously incomplete, but he could not be blamed for this. The friends he knew had not personally fought against the Zerg source, and the information they had obtained was only hearsay. When accumulating a big move, the Zerg source's body could not move around, otherwise the soul that was out of the body and was in the process of soul splitting and puppet building would be greatly damaged. At this time, the alien insect source will condense a very thick soul armor with anti-injury effect outside its body to protect itself from external interference and harm when it is splitting its soul to build a puppet. In addition, during the period of splitting its soul to build a puppet, the alien insect source's control over its body will become very weak. The alien insect source's body is relatively hard. After losing control of its body instinctively bends its knees and kneels on the ground due to gravity. The onlookers Luo and Wu Chuan, who did not know the truth, mistakenly thought that it was scared by Jin Ke and knelt down directly. "Stand up for me. If you don't know how to play, give me back the control. Fuck your ancestors." Luo, who did not know the truth, continued to curse in various ways, and his fingers continued to frantically click and press on the mobile phone screen. In this situation, only various curses can slightly alleviate the great mental humiliation he has suffered. The alien insect source is concentrating the power of the soul to release the ultimate move. The control of the soul over the body is getting weaker and weaker. Luo's fingers frantically clicking and pressing on the mobile phone screen unexpectedly produced an effect. At a certain moment, Luo suddenly found that he had regained control of the character. Fuck. Damn it. I've regained control. I'm so happy, little bitch. You want to park with me? See how I'm going to torture you to death this time. Luo was extremely excited after regaining control of the character. After controlling the character, the first thing Luo did was, of course, to stand up from his kneeling position, and then try to walk a few steps. The scene of kneeling down in front of the little bitch was too embarrassing and humiliating. The soul of the alien insect source body is concentrating on accumulating big moves. At this time, the main body must not move. With the protection of the heavy anti-injury soul armor, it is not worried about being attacked by Jin Ke, but what it never expected was that its host, Luo, who it thought had been suppressed by the insect soul into a soul slag, suddenly took advantage of the opportunity and regained control of the body under the drive of a strong inner obsession. Luo manipulated his body to stand up and tried to walk. Although the movement was not large, it was a great harm to the soul of the alien insect source body that was temporarily separated from the body. It felt like a rope connected to an astronaut who was carefully walking in space, and the aircraft behind him suddenly started up. The connecting rope could be broken at any time. Once it broke, the consequences could be imagined. The soul of the alien insect source body screamed and quickly retracted the soul armor, interrupted the accumulation before the release of the soul division and puppet building skill, and fled back to the body to recuperate, so as not to die from soul collapse. Luo was unaware of everything that happened, but was immersed in the ecstasy of regaining control of his body. Others play games by controlling very ordinary characters to fight boss, and dozens of people besieging a boss may not be able to take it down. He, Luo, is now controlling a boss-level character. strength of more than 150, health of more than 2000, and defense of 4.5 times. With such strength, he can walk sideways in the entire base. What does it feel like to control the boss to crush ordinary players? Need I say? In one word, cool. For now, let's not think about the future. Let's deal with this annoying little bitch in front of us first. Xiaobo controlled the Zerg source to move around. Soon he found that this body strengthened by the Zerg source was really very flexible. The walking speed was about the same as the running speed of ordinary characters. Once running, it was just like riding an electric motorcycle. In addition, waving the claws to attack was also as fast as lightning. The dark blue claws gathered a lot of energy. Every time they chopped, a wave of energy was drawn in the air in front of them. The attack distance was at least 2 meters. The two skills that Xiaobo awakened were also inherited by the Zerg source. Passive skill Blood Madness. After a successful critical hit, the critical hit rate of the next attack increases by 60%, and the cooldown time of all skills is reduced to 1 second. It is only effective for the first critical hit. For every level of Blood Madness, the basic critical hit rate increases by 5%. Active skill Blood Slash. Damage increases by 50%, and the dodge rate increases by 60% within 1 second after a successful critical hit. Note: dodge is invalid for attacks that hit energy nodes. For every level of Blood Slash, the critical hit damage increases by 5%, energy consumption, none, cooldown time, 4 seconds. When Xiaobo reversed the situation and defeated Fang Yi when he was behind, he relied on the powerful power of Blood Madness and Blood Slash after a successful critical hit. The power of these two skills lies in that once a critical hit is made, there is a high probability of a second critical hit, and there is also a high dodge rate. For Park between assassins, 2 consecutive critical hits can reverse the situation in a very unfavorable situation. Very powerful skills, and there is no need to go around behind the target, and it can be used in a frontal attack. However, no matter how strong it is, you must first make a critical hit. To deliver a critical hit, you must first touch the opponent. In addition to inheriting Xiaobo's 2 skills, the Zerg Origin has a powerful life-saving skill called Soul Splitting and Puppet Building, which is currently in a cooling period of 2 hours. Chapter 121. Do you want to hear some truth? Dividing Puppet. But since it cannot be used during the cool-down period, Xiaobo did not want to bother to study it. Of course, even if he wanted to study it, he could not. What is this trick? Jin Ke stood there with a puzzled look on his face. When the Zerg source body knelt down, Jin Ke had a hunch that the boss was using a big move. From his experience in playing games, the boss usually has a powerful defensive skill during the preparation period for using a big move. In order to avoid accidental failure, Jin Ke did not take the initiative to attack the Zerg source body, and even considered temporarily escaping after the Zerg source body used a big move to avoid its sharp edge. However, after the Zerg source body knelt for a while, it suddenly stood up, and its originally coordinated walking posture became very strange, as if it was controlled by the player. Now your grandfather is operating it personally. Go to hell, little bitch. Xiaobo was extremely proud, and replied to Jin Ke a few words, then controlled the Zerg source body to rush towards Jin Ke. Xiaobo's words were recorded by the phone, and after being transformed by the parasitic body of the Zerg, they sounded extremely low and ferocious, but it was still possible to barely hear what he said. You, Xiaobo, how did you become a bug? Did you cause this disaster? Jin Ke was a little surprised when he heard Xiaobo's accent. In this incident, so many innocent players were killed. More than 100 people would also die for various bizarre reasons in the real world. This Xiaobo really caused a lot of harm. This disaster is all because of you, little bitch. Go to hell. Xiaobo rushed to 2 meters in front of Jin Ke, and immediately waved his claws to slash at Jin Ke. The next moment, Jin Ke appeared behind Xiaobo, and then Xiaobo's head had an additional apostrophe 45 points of critical damage. After fighting with the Zerg for more than a dozen rounds, Jin Ke was already familiar with the Zerg's attack methods. Xiaobo's operation is far less flexible than the Zerg. I just don't quite understand why the alien insect source controlled the body before, but now it has become Xiaobo. Is it a possession and counter-possession? In any case, For Jin Ke, this is good news. Xiaobo immediately turned around and made another claw, but Jin Ke turned into a light and shadow and appeared right behind Xiaobo. Xiaobo's head had another apostrophe 43 point of critical damage. The insect soul can't curse, otherwise it must be MMP and swearing now. Practice manual operation? Jin Ke asked Xiaobo. It can be seen that Xiaobo's operation has improved a lot compared to the last part. Your grandfather is also a master of manual operation. Xiaobo turned around and made another claw. Since losing to Jin Ke in the last part, he has been practicing full manual operation. Xiaobo has a good talent for games and quickly adapted to the full manual operation method. These days, he was hesitating whether to challenge Jin Ke again and regain his position as the assassin's brother. Unexpectedly, when the two met again for park, it was in this way. Do you think you are an expert in operation? Do you want to hear some honest words? Jin Ke asked Xiaobo earnestly. Speak. Your manual operation method is still in the primary stage, far from reaching the operation level of a true master who can make the mind follow the hand and move the hand at will. You must first find the right training method, and then practice hard for at least 3 more months before you can be comparable to me now. Jin Ke's body appeared behind Xiaobo again, and took away more than 40 points of his health. What does it mean that the mind follows the hand and the hand moves at will? Xiaobo has been practicing full manual operation recently, and after practicing, he has only adapted to full manual operation. He really feels that he has encountered a bottleneck in operation and cannot make any progress. At this time, Jin Ke pointed out his concerns and asked Jin Ke involuntarily. The mind follows the hand and the hand moves at will. Your problem is that only the mind moves but the hand does not. It's difficult. Jin Ke answered Xiaobo, and his men did not stop, continuing to take away more than 40 points of Xiaobo's health again and again. What do you mean? Xiaobo started to work in society before he graduated from elementary school. He didn't read much and was always confused by these ancient texts that he couldn't understand. The Tao that can be spoken is not the real Tao. The name that can be named is not the real name. The nameless is the beginning of heaven and earth. The named is the mother of all things. Therefore, always be nothing in order to observe its wonders. Always be something in order to observe its boundaries. These two things, with the same origin but different names, are both called mysterious. The more mysterious, the door to all wonders. Jin Ke continued to bully Xiaobo for not understanding. It seems to make sense and powerful, but can you explain it in a more popular way? Xiaobo couldn't understand it anymore and became a little irritable. In a more popular way, it means that I said a lot of nonsense, and then you stupidly listened to my nonsense for a long time. In fact, I was just teasing you. Jin Ke laughed loudly. This attack took away at least 500 points of Xiaobo's health. You're teasing me? After Xiaobo understood, he became more manic. You're finally smart for once. Jin Ke is not too relaxed now. When he was operating the Zerg source body before, he had to be very alert, but now facing Xiaobo, he felt like strolling in the garden. After relaxing, his operation became more precise. Fuck. Xiaobo cursed. The other party has enabled voice filtering for you, and all curse words will be automatically blocked. A prompt popped up on Xiaobo's phone. It seems that Jin Ke had been prepared for Xiaobo to curse. Fuck, 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 fuck. Although blocked, Xiaobo still couldn't contain his anger after being fooled. Jin Ke responded with critical hits again and again. If you have the ability, don't use displacement skills to fight me. Let's fight each other in a fair duel. Xiaobo knew that cursing was useless. After calming down, he stood still and provoked Jin Ke. Jin Ke jumped around like this. Even if he operated it himself, he couldn't touch Jin Ke and he would still lose in the end. Oh, you want fairness? Then you should take off this armor first. Xiaobo did not move, and Jin Ke did not move either. He just stood behind Xiaobo, stabbing Xiaobo's back with his claws. It would be a waste if he didn't poke. I want to take it off, but I can't. Xiaobo suddenly turned around and grabbed Jin Ke with his claws again, hoping to take advantage of Jin Ke's surprise attack. Then there is no way. Jin Ke had been prepared. A flash of light appeared behind Xiaobo again, taking away more than 40 points of Xiaobo's health. Fuck. Xiaobo couldn't hit Jin Ke, and the provocation method didn't work. He was so angry that he cursed again. Jin Ke couldn't hear Xiaobo's swearing, and continued to poke and stab Xiaobo from behind. It would take time to kill this thick-skinned thing, but it can be imagined that after knocking it down, he will definitely get a lot of energy points. If he is lucky, it may be enough for him to evolve another skill, plus the blue claw. The dark blue claw should be a blue weapon, right? Jin Ke was obsessed with it the first time he saw it. Chapter 122. Come in if you can, don't use displacement skills. Fight me head on, do you dare? If not, are you still a man? Xiaobo was completely helpless and continued to yell and curse, trying to use words to stimulate Jin Ke to give up the displacement skills. Jin Ke sneered, and continued to stab, and insert in a rhythmic manner behind Xiaobo without saying a word. The damage value of more than 40 points floated above Xiaobo's head. Are you stupid? Standing there and letting him stab? Wu Chuan was furious when he saw Xiaobo's performance. He didn't know how cunning the little bitch named Jin was. Verbal stimulation was obviously useless. He tried again and again. Do you have a way? As soon as I turned around, he was behind me again. Xiaobo was very depressed and hurt. You are so stupid. Have you seen Alien? Do you know how the alien kills people? Use your speed and agility to hide, and then unexpectedly attack with a fatal blow. You are so fast and agile. Why do you stand there and fight him? Hide and let him find you. Then rush out and give him a fatal blow unexpectedly. Just touch him and you will be done for. Wu Chuan gave Xiaobo an idea. Damn, why didn't you say it earlier? Did you do it on purpose? Xiaobo thought it was a good idea. He quickly controlled the alien source body to escape into the dormitory building 05 in front, and then hid behind the door, waiting for Jin Ke to follow and give him a fatal blow unexpectedly. Jin Ke really followed him, but he did not enter the door. Instead, he stood in the corridor a few meters away from the door wall, as if thinking about something. Come in if you have the guts. See how I can kill you, little bitch. With one claw. Xiaobo heard Jin Ke's footsteps, stretched out his dark blue claws, and looked forward to it nervously. The next moment, Jin Ke suddenly turned into a ray of light and passed through the wall behind Xiaobo, appearing behind Xiaobo with incredible precision. Then, another super-powered critical hit of more than 40 points appeared above Xiaobo's head. This time, Jin Ke really turned on the detection plug-in. Turning on this plug-in consumes dark energy points. One dark energy point can detect for 1 second, detecting the approximate shape and position of all creatures and monsters within a radius of 50 meters. Under the detection of the detection plug-in, the alien insect source behind the door appeared clearly on Jin Ke's screen, and even the direction of its face was detected clearly. Nima, how can he know that I am here, and penetrate behind me so accurately? Xiaobo was horrified, and hurriedly operated the alien insect source to flee to the stairs in a hurry, hiding behind the door of the second dormitory room on the second floor of Building 05, waiting for Jin Ke to follow and find an opportunity to give a fatal blow. Jin Ke chased him slowly, but stopped at the stairs. He opened the detection plug-in again, found Xiaobo hiding in the second dormitory room, and went upstairs. After going upstairs, Jin Ke detected Xiaobo again and confirmed his position in the second dormitory room. Then he stepped forward and used a death charge to penetrate the wall and appeared behind Xiaobo, giving him another super-powered critical hit of more than 40 points of damage. Fuck. Can you still play properly? X-ray eyes? Can you find him even if you hide like this? Xiaobo shouted angrily, and cut a wall in front of him with a blood slash. He jumped back to the first floor hall and escaped from the dormitory building 05 in a panic. Then it became a game of cat and mouse. The thick-skinned, sharp-clawed, and unmatched alien insect source was chased by a small human player and fled everywhere. But no matter where Xiaobo hid, Jin Ke always appeared behind him in a mysterious way, giving him a super-powered critical hit and taking away more than 40 points of health. Walls and the like were nothing in front of Jin Ke. Although it had a health value of more than 2,000, it could not withstand Jin Ke's continuous harvest. After a short while, the health of the alien insect source body dropped to less than 300. It was about to die after being hit by Jin Ke 7 or 8 more times. The alien insect source body, which was resting in Xiaobo's body and recovering its injured insect soul, felt something was wrong. It had to risk its soul to mobilize all its soul power to forcibly take back the control of its body from Xiaobo. roared at Jin Ke behind him, and then clawed at him head-on. Jin Ke once again death charge flashed behind the alien insect source body, and more than 40 points of damage value floated above the alien insect source head. The alien insect source body fell into a violent state of panic due to death, and it turned around and grabbed without any fighting methods. The result was just to give Jin Ke more opportunities to stab it in the back. Fuck, 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 what's going on? Xiaobo cursed when he found that he had lost control of the character again, and then his fingers pressed various buttons on the phone screen frantically. Don't stand there stupidly, you should keep moving. Suddenly move forward, backward, and change various unexpected routes. Use your super high speed and agility to make it impossible for him to judge your route so accurately, and he can't appear behind you so accurately. Then find his mistakes. As long as you find his mistakes once, suddenly give him a claw, and you can almost take him away. Wu Chuan gave Xiaobo a few more suggestions. Why didn't you say it earlier? I just lost control. Xiaobo continued to press various buttons frantically in frustration. Didn't I just think of it? Wu Chuan was a little unhappy after being complained. Although the character was killed by Xiaobo, he still observed the battlefield situation very seriously and thought about various tactics to help Xiaobo defeat Jin Ke. Hey, give me back the control. I have a way to kill him. Xiaobo shouted again, trying to regain control of the character. He didn't really understand what happened just now. It seemed that he regained control of the character just as he was shouting. The Zerg had already fallen into a frenzy, relying on instinct to claw around more frantically, trying to kill the annoying human player. Unfortunately, it was all in vain. Jin Ke didn't give it another chance. After several death charges, he harvested the remaining life of the Zerg. As the blood was drained, the Zerg's heavy body fell to the ground with a bang, and its body began to twitch violently. Jin quickly stepped back a few steps and looked at the body of the Zerg very carefully. After all Zerg-infected bodies die, a Zerg will crawl out of the corpse. This Zerg must be no exception. Moreover, the Zerg that crawled out of the body of this Zerg must be much stronger than ordinary Zerg, so he had to concentrate and deal with it seriously. The twitching power of the Zerg's corpse gradually weakened, and finally it was motionless. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Is chapter 123 really done? At this moment, a very thick black fog escaped from the body of the Zerg prototype and entered Jin Ke's body. Is it really done? No way. He'd die before using his ultimate move. Jin Ke always felt that something was missing. How could it be so easy to defeat a boss? The boss would have to use a few ultimate moves before it died, right? Of course, Jin Ke didn't know that the Zerg prototype's ultimate move, soul-splitting puppet building, which could have reversed the situation, was ruined by its good teammate Xiaobo. Warning, the energy points have exceeded the upper limit and are about to overflow. Please deal with it within 30 seconds, otherwise it will automatically dissipate. The system gave a prompt. Jin quickly poured the energy points into the skill of Death Arc, and quickly upgraded the skill from LV6 to LV7, and then upgraded the skill from LV7 to LV8. In the end, 105 more energy points were deposited into the account. According to preliminary estimates, the Zerg prototype contributed more than 1060 energy points in total. The blue upgrade text began to flash continuously. Will it evolve? Death Dance evolved at LV8, so the possibility of Death Arc evolving is relatively low, right? It's over. In my haste, I forgot what my mentor Chen Wei said. The chance of displacement skills evolving is higher than that of passive skills, and the chance of passive skills evolving is higher than that of attack skills. In this case, Kiss of Death should be upgraded first. Jin couldn't help but feel a little regretful. 10 seconds later, the blue upgrade text prompt disappeared. Jin was even more nervous at this time, and he even held his breath when he looked at the screen of his mobile phone. The previous evolution of Death Dance occurred after the upgrade text prompt disappeared. Whether Death Arc can successfully evolve has come to the most critical moment. Fuck. Seeing the screen turn blood red and the 4 big words "You are dead" on the screen, Xiaobo cursed angrily. Fate. This is fate. Wu Chuan sighed. No, I must register an account again and kill this little bitch. Xiaobo clenched his fists. If there is still a chance to re-register, I think we should not mess with him. He is your nemesis, Wu Chuan advised Xiaobo. Failure is only temporary. A protagonist like me cannot be defeated by a villain. When I re-register, I will definitely kill that little bitch. Xiaobo did not listen to Wu Chuan's advice. After exiting the game, he immediately tried to log in again. He is crazy. Wu Chuan didn't know what to say. Huh, it's so strange, Xiaobo muttered as he looked at the screen of the phone that had logged in again. What's wrong? Wu Chuan came closer. My character died, but I can still see what happened. Xiaobo frowned. Wu Chuan came closer to take a look and found that the death screen after Xiaobo relogged in was really different from the death screen after Wu Chuan relogged in. After Wu Chuan died and logged in again, there was only a blood-red screen and 4 bloody words "You are dead." Xiaobo logged in again after his death. Although the screen was still blood-red, the words "You are dead" on it had disappeared. He could still see the game screen and Jin Ke standing there thinking about something, and sometimes looking around. Wu Chuan tried to log in again, but the same thing as Xiaobo did not happen. It's a game bug. Nothing strange, Wu Chuan speculated. Humphrey, I think my character is not dead yet. Maybe there is some adventure. Xiaobo began to fantasize again. Adventure? If I die, I die. Do you want to live a life worse than death? Wu Chuan said sarcastically. Don't be such a pessimist. Xiaobo was unhappy. I just thought of another way, which should be able to deal with the little bitch. Wu Chuan looked thoughtful. What way? Xiaobo asked Wu Chuan hurriedly. I found that the little bitch attacks behind you every time, which may be the key to his skill combo. If you were against a wall when you were fighting him just now, and there was a mountain behind you, he couldn't cut you from behind and he couldn't do anything to you. Even if you can't kill him, you can at least be invincible. Wu Chuan expressed his thoughts. Fuck, what a great idea. It's really great. Fuck, why didn't you say it just now? Xiaobo was overjoyed, but suddenly thought that he was dead, and couldn't help but feel depressed. Didn't I just think of it? Wu Chuan was also very depressed. You are a wise man after the event. MMP. Xiaobo cursed. Who are you scolding? I'm scolding the little bitch. Wheel and home community. 16 villas. Jin Ke looked at the phone screen nervously and expectantly. Not long after the blue upgrade text prompt disappeared, the silver words skill evolution suddenly popped up on the phone screen. Successfully evolved. This is too good luck, right? Evolved another skill? There was an arrow next to the skill icon of the original death arc, pointing to a new skill icon that had evolved. The icon of this new skill was different from the original one, and there was a light silver border around the icon. The name of the new skill was Death Cut. The LV8 Death Arc evolved into the LV8 Death Cut. Why are the names of the new skills that evolve every time solo not as good as the previous ones? Jin Ke complained happily. The names of the skills were minor issues, and Jin Ke just complained a few times. The key was what aspects of the new skills that evolved would be improved. Could it evolve like Death Dance into Death Charge, allowing Jin Ke's strength to make another leap forward? Let's take a look at the skill description. The description of Death Cut was much shorter. Death Cut, an active skill. After it is activated, it can cause 2 consecutive attacks on the target in a very short period of time, causing double damage. At the same time, it causes a bleeding effect on the target that ignores the target's armor, deducting the target's health value equivalent to 10% of the damage value of this skill every second, which lasts for 10 seconds. This bleeding effect cannot be stacked. Each level of the Death Cut skill increases the damage output by 5%. Cooldown time, 4 seconds. Energy consumption, 2 points. After one evolution, this is it. Jin Ke was a little disappointed. Compared with the evolution of Death Dance into Death Assault and Death Arc into Death Cut, the power increase is not much. After careful study, Jin Ke felt that this evolution was still worth it. After the evolution of Death Arc into Death Cut, the damage is equivalent to twice the original. Even more powerful than twice the damage. Chapter 124 Practice. Previously, He used the white weapon Zerg Claw to output a peak damage of about 195 points per attack. After the Death Arc evolved into the Death Cut, the damage output of each attack doubled again, totaling to about 390 points of damage. The armor in the game Horror City is just an external protective energy field, which offsets the corresponding damage for the character. The character's endurance value determines the protection of the character's life. The protection value of 10 points of endurance and below is 1. The protection value of 20 points of endurance is 2. The protection value of 40 points of endurance is 3. The protection value of 80 points of endurance is 4. And the protection value of 160 points of endurance is 5. The bleeding effect of Death Cut ignores armor, which means that even if the opponent's armor value is as high as 10,000, but the endurance value is similar to Jin Ke's current value and the health value is only within 195, Jin Ke's Death Cut attack can drain the opponent's blood after 10 seconds. Although the evolution of Death Arc into Death Cut did not give Jin Ke the ability to fight against many enemies at once like the evolution of Death Dance into Death Charge, the evolved Death Cut did not consume any health points, except that the energy consumption was 1 point higher than that of Death Arc, and the cooling time was not extended. Death Charge cannot be used frequently, unless it is in a desperate situation like today, where you must fight for your life to survive. Otherwise, he will die if the opponent uses a locked spell attack or a large-scale control skill. Death Charge is just like its name. Once you charge, you may die, paying the price of your life. But Death Cut does not have such concerns. It can be used at any time, does not consume health points, and does not have a long cooling time. You don't have to worry about being restrained and dying after using it. Tank and warrior classes have always been the nemesis of assassin classes. The control skills and strong defense of tank and warrior classes often give assassin classes a headache. The evolved Death Cut can be regarded as the nemesis of tank and warrior classes. The high bleeding damage that ignores armor allows Jin Ke to be at ease when facing tank and warrior classes in the future. When Jin Ke fights the alien Zerg source and the alien Zerg infected, the Death Charge strangles back and forth and a single attack cannot successfully kill a full-blooded alien Zerg infected body, and it needs to harvest the second round. But now Jin Ke, facing the same situation just now, each hit can harvest the life of an alien Zerg infected body, and there is no need to go back and kill another round after killing one round like before. Every hit wants to hit the energy node, which requires very high operation. The probability of making mistakes will increase significantly if you kill one more round. The mental concentration is high in a short period of time, and the mental consumption is also very large. Just like now, after Jin Ke finished killing the Zerg, he fell into a state of semi-exhaustion. Even though this is just a mobile game, the highly stressful operation can still make players exhausted. While checking the skill evolution, Jin Ke has been paying attention to the body of the Zerg next to him. It feels very strange that no Zerg crawled out of it. He always feels that something is wrong. Could it be? The Zerg has merged with Albo's character's body, and no more Zerg will crawl out of it? In order to find out what the situation is, Jin Ke decided to move closer to the body of the Zerg. Now Jin Ke's health is less than 20%, but the armor energy field that disappeared within 10 seconds of skill release has been restored, giving Jin Ke some protection. But Jin Ke is still very cautious, moving closer to the body of the Zerg, and then touching the body of the Zerg with his fingers again and again, until his character comes to the body of the Zerg. The touch of his fingers finally triggers the system's text description. The corpse of a deformed mutant, the product of an ordinary person's corpse being parasitized by a deformed mutant and then killed again. There seems to be some dark energy remaining in the bones of the corpse, and the deformed mutant's strong physique and attack power seem to come from these bones. There seem to be some mysterious raw materials hidden in the mutated bone shell of the corpse. If you want to get these bones and raw materials, you need to have LV4 dissection skills. The merger after parasitism. This means that the alien insect has completely merged with Albo's body, so no more alien insects will come out of the corpse. Jin Ke pondered the literal meaning. LV4 dissection skills? It seems that Zushu's dissection skills are only LV2? He can't dissect this Zerg source. Aren't dissection skills awakened after practice? There are so many Zerg infected bodies, Why don't I try to practice dissection and see if I can awaken the dissection skills? This skill should be very useful in the future. When I have the opportunity to leave the base and go to the outside world, I will kill all kinds of wild monsters and bosses, but I can't dissect them. Isn't it a loss? And I won't get anything? After thinking for a while, Jin Ke stretched out his claws to the Zergsaur's body in front of him and tried to cut it. Warning: you don't have LV4 dissection skills. Forced dissection will cause damage or even destruction of raw materials. The system popped up a prompt. Nima, kill people and want to destroy the body. Albo, who saw this scene on the mobile phone screen, couldn't help cursing. Let's go downstairs to have breakfast. By the way, see if the instructor is sober after being drunk. Everyone is dead. The studio should allow us to re-register the account. Wu Chuan stood up and patted Albo on the shoulder. Albo followed Wu Chuan out of the dormitory and went downstairs to have breakfast, but he kept his phone in his hand, watching everything on the screen unwillingly. Chen Xiaoliang, Liu Kuo, Li Xinping and more than a dozen other colleagues in the villa had already gathered in the restaurant on the first floor, talking about all kinds of things, but the instructor still didn't come downstairs. It seemed that he drank a lot last night. Don't talk about us stealing things, and don't say that I became a Zerg boss, otherwise the studio won't let us re-register our accounts, and just treat us as victims like them. Albo whispered to Wu Chuan. Got it, Wu Chuan replied to Albo impatiently. Jin gave up the forced dissection of the Zergsaur's body, walked to the side of a Zerg-infected body, dragged the body to a relatively safe corner, and then vigilantly observed the surroundings while reaching out his claws to the body of the Zerg-infected body in front of him. He recalled the scene of Zhu Shu dissecting the Zerg-infected body and followed his example to dissect it. Warning: you do not have the LV1 dissection skill. Forcible dissection will damage or even destroy the raw materials. A prompt popped up on the system. Jin Ke ignored the warning and continued the dissection. After each dissection, he looked around to ensure the safety of the character. Chapter 125, Corpse Claw. The body of the Zerg-infected body in front of him was quickly dismembered by Jin Ke's hand. There were several blackened bones inside. After Jin Ke dissected it, the energy in the bones dissipated and these bones became ordinary bones. After dissecting a blackened hand of the Zerg-infected body, it was prefixed with damaged. It seems that the dissection skill level is not enough. Forced dissection will indeed damage the raw materials. However, Jin Ke did not feel sorry for these raw materials. He just used them to practice. Just when Jin Ke was about to try to dissect the second body of the Zerg-infected body, two Zerg-infected bodies came out of dormitory 03. After seeing Jin Ke, they immediately screamed and rushed towards Jin Ke. It was obvious that they were previously parasitized by the Zergsaur's body, but the transformation had not been completed. Now they have transformed into Zerg-infected bodies. Jin Ke shook his head, stood up and rushed towards the two Zerg-infected bodies. A few lights and shadows flashed, and the two Zerg-infected bodies fell to the ground and died. The Zerg were killed on the spot. After a great battle, these monsters no longer pose any threat to Jin Ke. After killing the two new Zerg-infected bodies, Jin Ke continued his previous dissection work. During this period, several new Zerg-infected bodies that had just completed transformation came to harass him, but none of them posed any threat to Jin Ke and were easily killed. After dissecting 10 Zerg-infected bodies in a row, Jin Ke was unable to awaken the dissection skill. It seems that I don't have a talent for dissection. By the way, Zhu Shu seems to have been a doctor before. I wonder if people who have been doctors in the real world are more likely to awaken dissection skills. Jin Ke was a little discouraged, but he still started dissecting the 11th Zerg-infected body. You have awakened the life skill, dissection, current level LV1. A blue light flashed, and a line of system prompts appeared on Jin Ke's mobile phone screen. The dissection skill training plugin is activated. A prompt that the plugin is activated also appeared on the mobile phone screen. Ha 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 ha. I'm a genius. I've awakened my dissection skills after dissecting 11 corpses. Jin couldn't help but be very happy. The next thing was simple. Jin handed the remaining corpse dissection work to the plugin to handle. He just kept an eye on whether the character would be in danger. The plugin's dissection of corpses was much more professional, more accurate, and much faster than Jinke's. The LV1 dissection skill completed 1 corpse in 2 minutes. After the plugin dissected more than a dozen corpses, Jinke's dissection skill was upgraded to LV2. After upgrading to LV2, the plugin completed the dissection of a corpse in 1 minute. I don't know if it's because the plugin's operation is particularly accurate, which makes the effect of skill training particularly good. After dissecting more than 60 corpses, Jinke's dissection skill was upgraded to LV3. After upgrading to LV3, the plugin can complete the dissection of a corpse in less than half a minute. When dissecting more than 130 corpses, a very surprising scene happened. Jinke's dissection skill was upgraded to LV4. It was so fast that it reached the requirements for dissecting the alien insect source body. In order to avoid causing damage to the important materials in the Zerg body, Jin Ke of course gave this great and arduous task to the plugin. Instructor Chen Wei wanted to know the current battle situation. He walked to the door of Jin Ke's dormitory several times, and saw that Jin Ke was still concentrating and operating his mobile phone with a serious expression, so he did not come to ask anything. The studio did not give a reminder that the employee Jin Ke had died, which meant that Jin Ke was still alive and the battle was still going on. It was better not to disturb him at this time so that he could concentrate on his battle. Chen Wei certainly did not expect that the battle had actually ended long ago. Jin Ke was just taking this opportunity to practice his dissection skills and prepare to dissect the Zerg body. The dissection of the Zerg body was indeed very difficult, even more difficult than Jin Ke imagined. Its extremely hard shell left little room for dissection skills, and even broke the claws of several Zerg-infected bodies. Fortunately, Jin Ke now has a rich reserve of Zerg-infected body claws, and he can just replace one if it is broken. After more than 10 minutes of dissection, the plugin prompted that energy points were needed to continue the dissection. At this point, Jin Ke of course agreed to the consumption of energy points. After more than 10 minutes and dozens of energy points, the alien worm body was finally dissected. Various raw materials appeared where the body of the alien worm body was originally. The alien worm body that was imagined to be hiding in the body was not found. It seemed that it had indeed parasitized and merged with Jalbo's body. After the alien worm body and Jalbo's body parasitized and merged, the structure of Jalbo's body had undergone tremendous changes. It looked like the inner cavity of a worm, with only a few human characteristics. The energy core provided by Yu Junming and swallowed by the alien worm was consumed and transformed during the reproduction and injection of the alien worm body, and finally became the energy point used by Jin Ke to upgrade and evolve his skills. There were several black bones in the raw materials, all of which were white weapons, and the quality was one level higher than the thigh bones of the alien worm-infected body. Then there was a black insect cyst dissected from Jalbo's insect-transformed brain. The cyst skin was very tough, and there seemed to be a lot of soft and hard things inside, just like a cloth bag filled with cotton and stones. The instructions said not to destroy the insect cyst, otherwise the raw materials would become ineffective. As for the use of the raw materials inside, there was no specific explanation. It is better to find out clearly first. Jin Ke was not interested in the thigh bone, insect cysts, etc. What he was most interested in now was, of course, the blue claw of the alien insect source that was dissected. It was obvious that it was not an ordinary weapon. The instructions were so useless. There were several paragraphs written. Alien insect source claw, deformed product, formal name, Bow Corpse Claw. The origin of the name Bow Corpse Claw, the claw dissected from Jalbo's body, referred to as Bow Corpse Claw. Jin Ke read the instructions on the screen in a low voice. Oh my god, this is also possible, ha 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 ha. If Jalbo was still alive, he would definitely say MMP in his heart when he heard the name of this weapon. Jin couldn't help but complain. MMP, MMP, MMP. Jalbo actually saw all of this through the blood-red screen of his mobile phone, and heard Jin Ke's whispers, and couldn't help but curse. When Jin Ke picked up the claw to observe, the field of view on Jalbo's mobile phone screen also shook. Corpse Claw, Assassin's D-level blue equipment, attack power 2.5, critical damage increased by 11%, attributes. A growing biochemical weapon with a weapon spirit, The weapon seals Zhalbo's unyielding soul with angry obsession. Jin continued to read the text description in a low voice. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.